Hello.
Hi, Mark.
I can't hear anybody. Oh, hey, there we go.
Hello?
I was hearing
You're there,
nothing
Mark.
there for a while. Yeah. Thanks.
Hello, Tom Lofchick here. I can't seem to join the meeting. I don't know if you can hear me. I
We
can't hear
can.
anybody.
We can hear you.
I can see you, but I can't hear you.
We're all on mute.
Yes, Mr. Zloff, Thomas, you are in the meeting.
But your camera's off.
Hello, Tom Lofchick here.
We can see you, Tom.
I'm having trouble.
We can hear you, Tom, but your camera's
I'm
off.
having trouble hearing you as well. I don't know if there's a volume control here. Start video. Nothing happens when I hit start video.
Mr. Chairman, our first item is at 1:15 in 5 minutes. I'm not sure if you
Can't hear
wanted to
you.
do roll call and other items at this time.
Sure, we can do a roll call. Tom, are you there? You can
Let's
hear
start
him,
with the
but
tough
maybe
one.
he can't hear us. Bob,
Bob is present.
Mark,
Here.
Mel,
Here.
Nancy,
I'm here.
Margaret?
Here.
All right, I can barely hear you. I don't know where there's a volume adjustment on this thing, but I can't,
It's typically on the side of your tablet. We're just
Can't
doing
hear
roll
you.
call.
Dave,
Here.
and I
sorry.
think Laverne is away.
Jamila, can you get someone to phone me and give me some instructions, if any, on how to work, how to get this volume up? Because I can see people, I can't hear them.
Okay, try logging out and then back in again.
Can't hear.
How's your sign language, Jamila?
I'll send him an email.
I can't hear.
We're not going to be on the first
His
one.
camera
Sorry,
is, his
can I
volume's
can I
on.
clarify that the person who responded for the committee member David Serwatic is David Serwatic? I don't see him currently on the call.
Oh, there's David Serwatic.
Margaret is holding up something that I can't read.
That might have been another David that mentioned it, so.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry, I can't read it. Okay, no.
Log
Sorry.
out.
David Dorr is on.
Okay, we're looking for David Swatting.
Okay, I'm going to, Mr. Chairman, Thomas isn't able to hear us and he's not able to listen to our instructions, so I'm going to expel him from the meeting and then he can join back in. I have also arranged for a staff member to call him to try and talk him through it.
Okay,
Is
thank
that
you.
acceptable?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any committee members with a conflict of interest in today's applications?
Seeing none?
Okay. Jamil, I'm hearing an echo back every time I speak.
Could be Tom.
Okay, we will try and work on that. We're testing out our first hybrid meeting, so there's staff in person, and that may be where the echo is coming from. So I'll try and ensure that I remain muted when I'm not speaking.
Okay.
That could be echoing in the room.
Just a note to all participants, please ensure that you remain muted until you are called upon. Thank you. And Mr. Chairman, David is here now.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, I would like to add an item to the end of the agenda to discuss the participation procedures and rules that was circulated to the committee members.
Okay. Do you need a motion on that?
Yes, I believe I do need a motion to add it to the agenda.
I'll move it.
Thank you.
Mel, seconded by
I'll second.
Nancy.
Margaret.
Margaret.
All in favor? Opposed?
Seeing none.
Carried. It is 1:15 if you're prepared to start, Jamila.
Yes, so we are hearing SCA 22174 for 68 Seabreeze Crescent in Stony Creek. We have the agent registered to speak and one interested party.
Okay, is the agent available?
Yes, I am.
Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, I'd have to get them back open. It's been a little while.
There was one concerned citizen.
That's correct. We will hear from Gurinder Ajula. I do not currently see them registered on the call.
Okay, back to the agent. Did you have any questions at all?
At the moment, no. I guess, Mr. Chair, I guess really the reason for us asking for what we're asking for is the conservation has quite tight boundaries on what you can and can't do on this property. And so, in other words, to try and get the most efficient dwelling out of the space, we've had to go forward with the setback, which is kind of in line with the majority of the neighborhood or the front yard setbacks. If we were to push back, it just really tightens up that envelope to the point where you get maybe 700 square feet of a house. So it virtually makes the lot impossible. And the house does need to be taken down and rebuilt.
Okay, does the committee have any questions?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I apologize. I forgot Councillor Pearson is registered on this item as well.
Okay. Councillor?
Thank you. And I just want to clarify, this is an addition through you, Mr. Chairman, to the agent? This is an addition though, correct?
Through you, Mr. Chair. No, this has to be a tear down and rebuild.
That's not what we're dealing with.
That's not what we're dealing with, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry. I have it as a two-story addition.
Yes.
That's what I have to.
Apologize, but
On my drawings, it has proposed 2-story single family dwelling. So I don't know where the addition came in.
Jamila, what do you have on your records?
Yep, I'll just check. Just one moment, please.
My application reads the permit the development of a new two-story addition to the existing single detached dwelling.
But the drawings don't show that. The drawings show a new building.
Is it on the same foundation though? Or is the foundation also new?
Through you, Mr. Chair. It has to be a new foundation, but the thing is, it's actually fairly similar to the footprint that's already there. It's actually going to get smaller for footprint because we have to have the 4.5 meter side yard setback down that driveway side for access for conservation. So the house is actually going to be smaller in footprint.
But 2 stories.
And yeah, and we have kept under the height restrictions. We're actually lower than the height.
So I think it probably should have said 2-story, new 2-story dwelling as opposed to addition.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I did verify the application was written that it was going to be the reconstruction of the existing building and the addition. The notice was not written up that way, however.
So then, should we table this until it gets cleared up?
Well, the comments from staff appear to have recognized that it's a demolition and rebuild.
Yes.
Like if you look at all the recommendation comments,
It says all those things.
yeah.
What's the wishes of the committee?
So under zoning, it says number 2, a demolition permit required for the demolition of the existing single-family dwelling and possibly the accessory structure.
Yeah, you're right on that, Nancy.
I don't think they should be penalized because somewhere along the way, some words got mixed up.
Yeah.
Councillor, are you okay with this?
well, Mr. Chairman, I'm okay. I just have concerns of the party that was supposed to speak today and what their concern was, because I didn't see anything. And I'm trying to open the comments again, but it's taking forever on my computer. So I don't know if Jamila can clarify what were their comments received from Mr. Gorinda Hajula?
No.
No.
He just sent in that he was wanting to speak to it.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, yes, that is correct. There were no written comments received from any interested parties other than the Conservation Authority, and he had just registered to speak.
Okay, so I don't have a problem with it, Mr. Chairman. It's just unfortunate that created a bit of confusion, and I'm not sure what notice went to the neighborhood then, so.
Again, what are the wishes of the committee? Do you want to okay this new build?
I'd like to make a motion for approval.
I'll
I'll
second it.
second it.
Okay. I think it's okay. All in favor?
Here, here.
Opposed?
Seeing none?
Seeing none, motion carried, application approved.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for your time.
And we are all set for the next file. We're hearing HMB 2245 for 647 Rymel Road West in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak and one interested party.
Okay, is the agent available?
I am Mr. Chairman, Steve Fraser, AJ Clark and Associates.
Yes, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
I did, and just a few minor housekeeping matters more than anything that I'd like to bring up. On page 7 of 11 of the first round of comments under variance 2, lot area, there's an incorrect reference to the lot area proposed. It's 825 square meters, not 885. And then secondly, development engineering has made a comment at the very last page of the comments indicating that the proposed rear yard depth of 5 meters does not satisfy a requirement for usable amenity area. It's not a proposed situation. It's an existing situation, Mr. Chairman. It's the relationship to this house, to that westerly property line is existing. It's not changing by virtue of this application. So we see that planning staff have recommended support for these variances. So we would certainly ask that committee do the same. And if there's any questions, happy to answer.
Okay, we have one citizen.
Hello.
We will hear from David Dorr now.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please bear with me. I'm not familiar with these procedures, having never done this before. A couple of clarifications. In terms of the front yard, is that the yard that is facing Rymel Road to be considered the front yard? Or is it considered, the front yard is considered facing Upper Paradise?
Through the chair, when we're severing this lot, the configuration of the lots being severed and retained change. So the front yard is actually the relationship of the existing house to Upper Paradise. The front yard for the lot being severed along Rymel Road will actually be, the relationship will be to Rymel Road for front yard.
Okay. So the front yard for the existing building is Upper Paradise. The severed lot is Rymel Road.
That is correct.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to clarify is the rear yard of the existing building. It's saying it's a rear yard depth of 5 meters shall be provided instead of 9 meters. So that would be, the rear yard would be the south side of the existing building. Am I correct with that?
Through the chair, that would be the current rear yard on the whole of the lot as it exists today. The rear yard changes when Upper Paradise for the existing house becomes the front yard. The rear yard is the opposite lot line. So the rear yard would technically now be, once severed, the westerly boundary of the property. Again, and that's an existing relationship to those property lines.
Okay, so at the I guess at the end of the day, I really want to know the existing building. What's the intent there? To leave it as it is on the existing lot and then build something new on the severed lot? Am I reading this correctly?
That is correct, yes.
And the severed lot building, what type of dwelling are you speaking about?
It would be a single detached dwelling as permitted under the zoning.
I see. Okay. All right. Okay.
Nothing's happening with it.
So in summary, nothing's happening to the existing building. It's just going to remain. The severed lot will contain a brand new building, single family home.
That is correct.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, well, I think that's, well, I guess at the end of the day, as long as the existing building doesn't change, it doesn't really impact our property per se, but the additional thing just means perhaps more traffic and everything else associated with it. Where would the access point for the driveway be on the severed lot?
Through the chair, it would be on Upper Paradise. There's comments associated with that in the comment package that are effectively encouraging the applicant to put the access onto Upper Paradise, which we have no problem with.
Good.
I see. All right. Anything else?
Okay, thank you for your questions. Does the committee have any questions at this time?
Motion to approve with that change.
Seconded.
With that friendly
Seconded.
little change, that's it.
Okay, sorry, Mr. Chair, can I please ask the agent to clarify what the requested changes were? He spoke a little bit too quickly for me today.
Oh, just.
Through the chair, sorry, Jamila, no changes per se. I was just highlighting that within staff's comments themselves, they're referring to an incorrect lot area, but the actual variances that have been set out are correct. So it's 825 meters that was applied for, and it's 825 meters that staff have acknowledged.
Okay, thank you so much.
And the change was just to put that as a housekeeping item.
Wonderful, thank you. So that was a motion by Nancy, and I believe seconded by Mark?
Mark, yep.
Yes. All in favor? Opposed?
Seeing none?
Seeing none, motion carried, application approved.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye.
Okay, and we are all set for the next file. We are hearing ANA 22-161 for 182 Central Drive in Ancaster. We have the agent registered to speak and no other interested parties.
Okay, is the agent available?
Hello there, it's Irina Merrick. I'm the homeowner.
Okay. Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, I have. I just have a few comments to add, if possible.
Okay, I'm just wondering, I mean, they're recommending denial, and I'm wondering if the best thing would be to table it so that maybe you can change the location of the accessory structure to better suit the planning comments.
When I looked at the comments and in terms of our application, we were looking to set back the storage shed further down to the property line. It really does make sense to have it set back a little bit further, as opposed to the 7.5 meter offset from the back of the property. There is a shaded area in the back of our property, actually, which belongs to our neighbor. Having the shed tucked away would make more sense All of the sheds to our right and to our left are all kind of in the back of the properties as well. I've done a bit of a research to look at some other properties within our area, and there's a few addresses that I've noted that have larger sheds all set back right close to the property line. So I'm just wondering, you know, is there any other questions? Or, I mean, in terms of, it doesn't make sense, because if we were to set it back 7.5 meters away, our house is a single family home and it's fairly long. There will be a lot of unused space in the back that we wouldn't be able to utilize. We can't even put a garden there, because the back of our property, or actually our neighbors, has beautiful large trees, and there's a lot of shade there. So it would be a lot more usable if we were to have it pushed back a little bit. So it's about 6 feet, which is 1.8 meters that we're suggesting or proposing.
Okay, Mel?
Yeah, I visited your property. I talked to your son there yesterday.
Oh,
And,
okay.
and I see what you're going to, because it's all marked out there. I just wondered whether you should table it and sit down with the planning staff. You maybe don't have to put it back to the full distance from the fence, what they're requiring, but maybe halfway matter would be able to do it and make it still work for you, rather than say we table it now and then get that worked out, rather than have it denied.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying it will
We're
be, but I think it'd be better for you that way.
Absolutely, we're happy with that as well. We honestly do feel that, you know, if we were to go 7.5 meters out, the structure will be literally in the middle of our backyard, because our lot is 45 foot wide by 200, and there's no other structures within that area, and we have chain linked fence on one side and open space. So if we were to move the shed, it would just not. And our neighbors next door even said that they would prefer if it was tucked away, because it wouldn't look nice right in the middle of the backyard. But we're happy to work with planning staff or whoever we need to. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that would be best. From
Motion
what I
for
seen
table.
yesterday. Yeah, I would table it too.
Okay, Nancy?
Yeah,
I'll second it.
That's a motion, seconded by Mel. All in favor of table?
Here, here.
Opposed?
Being done?
Seeing none, motion carried, application tabled.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, and we're all set for our next file. We're hearing ANA 22-167 for 60 Amberley Boulevard in Ancaster. We have the owners registered to speak and no other interested parties.
Okay, are the owners available?
Yes, we are.
Yes, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, sir, we have.
Did you have any questions?
No, everything seems to be in order in terms of the Department of Development Engineering said that the existing drainage pattern needs to be maintained, and it will.
Okay.
We will
Was
have
this
no
deck
changes
built
there at all.
without a permit?
Beg your pardon?
Was this deck built without a permit?
This was this is page 3 of 3.
Said with the deck built without a permit.
Was the deck built without a permit? The deck was built, the pool was built with a permit by Smart Pools, and at the time we did not know, nor did the installer, that we needed a permit for the deck because we had an existing deck. Are we on the video?
Okay, so the answer to my question is no permit was issued for the deck.
That's correct.
Okay. Committee have any questions?
No, I'll move it.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Here, here.
Opposed?
Being done?
Seeing none, motion carried, application approved.
Thank you very much. We're done.
Okay, and we are all set for the next file. We're hearing ANA 22170 for 653 and 657 Mohawk Road in Ancaster. We have the agent registered to speak as well as several interested parties.
Okay, is the agent available?
Yes.
Yes, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
No, everything is okay.
Okay. Okay. You don't have any questions at this time?
No, I don't have any question.
Okay, Jamila, there's a number of citizens.
Yes, so we will hear from Alexandra Kelly first.
Hi, I'm the owner of 663 Mohawk Road. So my property is beside this lot. I just have a couple of comments and questions. Mr. Khan has made the suggestion that the retaining wall that is on our property on the northwest corner, which is on the fence line, that he would like to remove that retaining wall. And that is a big issue for me. That's on my property, and I don't want him touching the retaining wall. The second issue is this property has been severely neglected since he's owned it. We have very high weeds, grass. There's been construction garbage that's been left on the property since he's owned the property. And we would like this maintained and cleaned up and kept in good order while he's doing this construction.
Okay. Mark, maybe you could comment on this retaining wall since it belongs to this neighbor.
Can I say something?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, were you asking Mark to comment on that?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
I guess my thoughts were if the retaining wall is on Alexandra's property, then the applicant can't touch the retaining wall, but
I think it's a new retaining wall. I could be wrong, but if the applicant can confirm that they're looking at a new retaining wall, not the retaining wall on the neighbor's property.
No, that's the retaining wall is on the neighbor property, and the fence that on the neighbor property is on the other side, on their side, and the retaining wall is being shown on the property on our side. It's like a jog, you know, like a L shape. So I told myself, Alexandra, that this retaining wall, basically this area belongs to you, but it's showing in my property because your fence is on your side, and your this 3 feet is showing that this is my land, whereas this is your land. But she misunderstood me. You know, nowadays talking in good faith for someone to favor them, they take it wrong. I never thought that I have to take the retaining wall. Why should I take the retaining wall, spend money for no reason? I never said. I just said to her that the fence is on the wrong side. The retaining wall should be showing in your property inside the fence in your property, whereas the fence is on her side and the retaining wall is being shown in my property, showing that this is our land. That's what I told her, but I think she misunderstood that. I'm not taking any retaining wall out. That's your property, that's your retaining wall.
I didn't misunderstand anything. When we purchased the property, that's the way the fence was put on the land.
Whoa.
That's the way the fence was. And I believe even in the drawings that were provided by our real estate agent, it shows that the fence was in front of the retaining wall, but the retaining wall is in our property line. So there's no misunderstanding.
Okay, that's fine. If you're fine, I'm fine.
okay, so, I mean, we're only dealing with 4 variances here. And the fence and the retaining wall is not part of a variance in front of us today.
We'll hear from the next interested parties, Mr. Chairman. We're hearing from Pierre and Martin Maliat. Sorry, you'll just have to unmute yourself.
Yes, I've made my point in writing, so I guess that if you have read them, you know what are my thoughts. Basically, I would oppose the variance for different reasons. The first one is for myself, loss of privacy, significant loss of privacy due to the higher building, and also the fact that with the variance on the balcony and staircase, that would be closer to my backyard. It's difficult to say, but I would, but the whole thing would affect also negatively the value of my property. The second thing is I don't understand why we should allow an exception to a rule, which to the bylaws of the municipality, when there is no benefit for the public and there is obviously some impact on my own property. So nobody benefits from that except the developer himself, of course. The third one is that I think this will create a precedent. If you go back from 9 meters height, 9.5 meters height to 10.5, which is in fact the bylaw. The bylaw was passed 3 or 4 years ago to avoid what they call monster homes of 10.5 meters high. So I don't see why we should change that now, and this will create a precedent. I mean, any new property that will be sold, or an old property that will be sold in Lancaster in the future, I mean, the developer will just ask, okay, can I raise it 1 meter higher? And it will be difficult to say no once this one has been approved. The fourth one is the environmental impact of the whole thing. I think we here with this project, we're back to the 20th century. I mean, it's like if climate change was not an issue. I mean, a bigger volume of a house consumes more energy, and this multiplied by other properties for which the same sort of change would be requested, that will affect the environment in general, and not to speak about all the trees that are going down, and that has started already. A number of trees have been knocked down. The latest one yesterday, quite a number already.
After I was there.
Sorry?
Go ahead.
Okay, well, that's a point. I mean, the trend everywhere in the world now is to bring back green trees and green areas in formerly built up and paved areas. So we are just doing the contrary here. So I find this a little bit disappointing.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll hear from the next interested party is Anita Young.
Sorry. I also have a question. From the document that was attached to the Committee of Adjustment documentation, I see the two houses sitting next to each other, and since there is a variance in the variance, there is a request to move well, for the front yard of the 653 Mohawk Road, down from 13.6 meter to 11.4 meters. I would have understood that the house at 653 would be a little bit closer to Mohawk Road than the other one. And if that's the case, then it would be, let's say, 2 meters farther from my own fence. Is that correct or not?
To the agent?
Yeah. Okay, the first question is that Mr. Perrier said that we are increasing the height of the building.
Can you answer my last question, please? I mean, with the front yard setback being reduced from 13 to 13.6 to 11.4 meters, does that mean that
So
the
we will
house
be a
at
little bit further
653 will
towards
be,
the, we will be
sorry?
a little bit, we will be a little bit further towards the main road and will be away from your property. That's why they say that we have to be 14 meter back. We said from the road. We said, no, we will be 11.4 meter back from the road. So it means that we are going away from your house. The
So, but-
privacy issue that you are thinking,
excuse me, so that means that the distance from my fence to the house at 653, instead of being 16 meters, would be 18 meters and something?
it will be more distance from your fence from the back between the house and your backyard fence.
As compared to
It
the
will be more
drawing that is,
Yeah.
so there will be
The
about a 2
bylaws
meter.
say that we should be 14 meter away on the front yard, but we say we want to be 11 meter away from the frontier, from the
Okay.
front of the, so we are away from your house.
Yeah, so you confirm that the house at 653 will be 2 meters away as compared to what is shown on the drawing attached to the meeting.
Yeah, whatever is on the drawing, that's what we are proposing to the city. You look to the front yard and then you will see that what is that.
Yeah, no, the front yard is very difficult to assess because we don't know what is the starting point. But I see two houses which are, which the envelope of which is exactly aligned. So I just want to know if this drawing is correct or if I will enjoy 2 more meters away from my fence. If that's the case, I would like this to be noted.
Okay, so if I could interject, there is no variance for the rear yard. So he's in compliance.
No, but I mean the envelope of the house would not change. If the 11.4 meters on the front yard is okay, that means that this house will be 2 meters closer to...
What we have submitted already in the city, we are in the final stage of building permit approval. What you see, the building envelope will not change. That's what you see, that will be there.
So I don't understand why you need 11.4 meters front yard for the 653 and not for the 667.
I'm talking about 653, what you are questioning.
No, but you asked for the variance only for the 653. So I don't understand the drawing. I mean, and I don't understand how far the house will be.
Don't worry about the 657. You talk about the 653. The 653, you are concerned with 653.
I'm concerned with both.
We have applied. I'm
concerned with both, but the fact is that this variance, I mean, the front yard variance has been asked only for the 653.
Yeah, so the city is okay with the 657 and we are okay with the 657. This application went to the city zoning. The city zoning recommended these things, that we need these things, these variances based on the application, building permit application submitted to the city. And that's after the consultation with the building permit.
Yeah, that's not my point. I'm just asking a question. I mean,
that's what I'm saying, that we don't have any issue with the building on the front yard on the 657. So I'm not asking any variance on 657. I have an issue with the 653, and that's why I'm here to get approval for 653.
Yeah, so that's fine. That's fine. But then in the
technical question, I cannot answer.
Just our whole meeting on a debate here on the rear yard when it's not in front of us today. So, Jamila, can we move on to the next?
Well, it is yes. Because there's a variance also,
So
which is
the variances that are requested are what is before the committee members. That is what they are reviewing, and they will make a decision based on that information. If further variances are required at a later stage during the development, then they will have to apply for further variances pending committee approval or denial, depending on what the decision is today. We will now hear from the next interested party. We will hear from Anita Young.
Hi, can you hear me? Hi. I would like to echo the concerns of my neighbor Pierre. I have the property at 649 Mohawk Road. I'm concerned about things like privacy, environmental. I understand his question, and you're saying it's maybe not for debate today, but the drawing does not match what has been described. So my concerns are, again, privacy, the green space. It also says in the variance that there'll be 1 meter of sodded space. And I just want clarification because it said that that was maybe a question mark. And is that going to be green space? And so there's only going to be 1 meter between my fence and another dwelling at 653. Is that how I read that? That's, I think, my only question. And then, as I said, my concerns echo my neighbors, Ms. Kelly and Pierre and Martin. Thank you.
Yeah, that will be green space between your fence and that 1 meter will be a sodded area.
Okay, next.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, that was the last interested party.
Okay, does the committee have any questions?
I have Melvin with a question and then other committee members.
Okay, I was at the property there yesterday and I was looking for the sign. Was there a sign ever on that property or where is it now?
Sorry, what did you say?
I was at the property yesterday and there's no sign there saying for the Committee of Adjustment variances. Was there one there or where is it now?
No, there was, but you know, the guy has, we demolished the house, you know, last week. So maybe that is, you know, when the excavator was there and the people were there, maybe it came down.
It's supposed to be kept up at all times. Another thing, and how many more of those mature trees are you taking down? Because there's quite a few in the front there. And
yeah, I have the arborist report, which is already seen by the city and approved. So the trees that has to be removed for the development, those trees will be going. And the rest of the trees that is to stay, because per the approval of the city, that will stay. So there is only 1 or more tree on the front, and that's it to go, as per the arborist report, which is approved by the city.
Okay, that mature tree at the front, that couple of mature trees, they'll be gone or saved?
The mature trees will save as per the arborist report. We are not taking it down.
Okay.
Anyone else?
And we have a question from Bob.
What was the reason for the height? Having to have the height variance?
The height is, it's a slope, you know, it's a walkout basement. The property is on the slope. And to achieve the grading, we are not increasing the floor, increasing the height of the floor. It's just the peak of the building. That if we go that way, so we just need that 1 meter. It's less than a meter, but the zoning said apply for 1 meter. So if there is anything, so we don't have to object on it. We are not taking the floor high. It's just to attain the grading, current grading. So we just increasing the peak of the building.
And you can't do that. You can't reduce the height of the peak.
If we reduce it, then it will go flat, and that when we go flat, then it becomes another problem for the snow things, you know. So it's just a slope that we are taking a little bit more steeper.
Okay, and I believe we have questions from Nancy.
Yes, I'll go to variance 3 and I'll ask the question there. So the proposed balcony and open stairway, 4 meters versus 1.5, that's well more than 50% in excess of what's permitted, and I'd like to know what that reason is.
Sorry, what is your question?
Why the balcony is double plus what is allowed. You're only allowed 1.5 meters projection, and yours is going to be 4 meters.
As I said, this is a walkout basement. It's more steep, you know, so that's why we want a little bit bigger balcony. So if, you know, it can be used. Otherwise, if I go 1.5 meter, it will be just a closed balcony. No one can come out on that balcony then. And the other thing is that 4 meter is not all the balcony. That 4 meter is including the staircase. The staircase is a problem. When we are putting the staircase, that's increasing that area.
Okay. And just for clarification to the neighbor, the 11.4 issue, I don't think we need to debate it anymore, but it does pertain to just 653. And that's what it's saying on the application.
Yeah.
Yes, But that was the reason for my question,
Okay.
because the
No more
drawing doesn't
comment.
show that.
No further comment, sorry.
Any other committee members with questions? Or a motion?
Okay, I'll bring a motion for approval as per the building and planning's comments for approval.
Okay, seconder?
Yep.
All in favor? Opposed?
Seeing none?
Seeing none, motion carried, application approved.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
And we're all set for the next item. We are hearing ANA 22172 for 128 Judith Crescent in Ancaster. We have the agent registered to speak and no other interested parties.
Okay,
Tom
the
Lofchik
agent
here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Tom
can.
Lofchik? Oh,
Yes,
good.
we can.
Okay, I sat through that last one and I'm in favor of approval. And
Okay.
I guess we can carry on from here. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Is the agent available for Judith Crescent?
Yes, hi there. This is Devin Braun.
Yes, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, I did.
And do you have any questions?
No questions overall, maybe just a technical or terminology question about if the variance is approved, if that will categorize the property as a legal non-conforming, or if it will become a zoning specific property. Maybe my terminology is incorrect, but just wondering about the terminology there.
Okay, comments from planning, maybe? Someone available?
Yes, I believe there is somebody here from planning. I'm just not sure who is on this file. Is this Christine or Amin?
If it's a question that I can take offline, I can do that as well.
I have a question as well. Could the applicant repeat what the concern is again? I'm trying to understand where the legal non-conforming question comes from.
Yeah.
So the house is built, well, the property lines, there's about 6 different property lines. So the position of the house is so that the rear yard setback is a legal in non-conformance. I assume that the house was built prior to the bylaw, the bylaws of this property. So it was recommended to us through the city that we would go through this process to make sure that it is a legal non-conforming situation, as the current house is in non-conformance with the rear yard setback already.
Okay, but there was nothing in this application to address that.
The reason for the application is just because the addition to the house is encroaching more into that rear yard setback, which is a non-conforming. So that was part of the application and the verbiage throughout our submission. I don't see it on this the comments here, which is just why I'm bringing it up.
So you're wondering if it needs to be site specific if it's approved?
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, so this is in addition to a dwelling that is considered, or to a garage, sorry, where the garage is not a permitted use, or the dwelling is not a permitted use?
No, the dwelling is a permitted use. It's just that the dwelling on the site is closer to the rear yard property line than what the bylaw requires. This house was built 1950s, I believe, or earlier than that. So the existing residence is in non-conformance with the bylaw. So any addition would also be in non-conformance, hence why we are here.
Okay, I don't think it's required if it's not on the staff comments, just because every house that was built prior to the current bylaws is out of compliance, if you want to put it that way, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that's what I expected. So I just wanted to make sure I was on the.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Motion for approval.
second it.
Nancy, Mel, all in favor?
Here,
Here, Loftus, yes.
Opposed?
Seeing none?
Seeing none, motion carried, application approved.
Great. Thanks very much. Have a good day.
All right, we are all set for the next file. We're hearing ANA 22-175 for 376 Phillip Place in Ancaster. We have the agent registered to speak and no interested parties.
Okay,
you
the
did
agent
know,
available?
Philip. Holy smokes.
The agent available?
Yes, good afternoon, Chair.
Yes, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
I did. I just have one concern with the proposed condition that was in the comments regarding the site plan. So we have received an exemption letter from the city staff already, exempting us for the site plan component. So I was going to ask the committee members as well as the chair to remove that condition from our application. I did send that exemption letter to the C of A at hamilton.ca not too long ago. I don't know if that has been circulated to the committee members yet or not.
For the committee members' information, that it was a note on the comment package that stated that the site was not a condition.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I must have misunderstood that.
It says subject to.
Yeah, it's subject to condition. So
Doesn't say condition.
You have a condition.
So you're okay because you do have it.
Do you have any questions? Motion?
Move it.
Move it. Bob, then Nancy. All in favor?
Here.
Opposed?
Seeing none?
Motion carried, application approved.
thank you.
Excuse me, can I ask a question? Mr. Chairman, I don't know why, but you sound like you're in a tunnel somewhere. And it's not that easy to hear you. I don't know if you've got two speakers on, maybe side by side or something?
No.
I'm not sure if maybe your headphone jack has come out, because I think it's when both you and Melvin are speaking at the same time, or sorry, have both are unmuted.
Okay, maybe Mel can mute.
Try speaking again?
Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, then that's
Thank
what was
you.
happening.
Oh,
Okay.
he's gone back off again. Thank you.
Oh, I don't know what it is here. It's just no different what we had before.
Okay, we are all set for the next file, so we're hearing ANA 22-176 for 564 Tuscarora Drive in Ancaster. We have the owners registered to speak and no other interested parties.
Okay, is the owner available?
Yes, I am. Chris Markham. Good afternoon, all.
Yes, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, sir, I did.
And do you have any questions?
And no, sir, I do not.
Okay, does the committee have any questions?
No, move it.
Okay, seconder?
I'll second
Margaret?
if nobody else is.
All in favor?
Here.
Opposed?
Seeing none?
Motion carried, application approved.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your day.
Okay, and we are all set for the next file. We are hearing GLB 2239 for 91 Strathern Place in Glanbrook. We have the agent registered to speak and no other interested parties.
Okay, is the agent available?
Yeah, I'm here, Jacob Dickey from Urban in Mind, and I'm also.
Yes, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
I did, yeah.
And would you like to table?
No. No.
Okay, that's the recommendation from staff at this time, but that's
Yes.
your option.
Yeah, we understand.
Okay. So do you have any questions, or do you want to explain the situation here?
Yeah, so essentially we were given a tentative public meeting date for our zoning application, and that's tentatively scheduled for September 20th. And because that date followed, the staff on file recommended that we table tonight's meeting so that it be brought up closer with the public meeting date for the zoning application. But given that it's a pretty simple application, we feel that we can satisfy all those conditions on time.
If I may add, Mr. Chair, Terrence Glover from Urban in Mind, the agent as well. Due to the election this year, we can get, we're in September for our supposed hearing for the zoning amendment. If we table this, we may not get to the zoning, if there's some reason why, we may not get to the zoning in the election year until after the election. So because we're scheduled for before the election, we've discussed with the client, he understands the risks of a conditional approval today, but we feel that we can accomplish that within the 2-year period to satisfy the conditions of consent. So that's why the applicant has requested to move forward with the decision today. Thank you.
Okay. Committee? Questions? Can we make a motion?
I'd move it subject to all the conditions.
With the zoning amendment?
Yep.
And for clarity, could I also request that, as per planning's comments, could the dimensions on the decision be reflective of the sketch that was submitted and not what was shown on the notice?
You guys okay with that? Jacob and Terrence?
Agent?
Sorry, yes, we're fine with that. It was a technical typo, yeah.
Okay. Who made that motion, Mark?
Mark made the motion for approval.
Okay, I'll
And Nancy seconding?
Yep.
All in favor? Opposed?
Seeing none?
Motion carried, application approved.
Thank you, have a great day.
Thank you.
We are all set for the next file. We are hearing HMA 21333 for 777 Upper James Street in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak and one interested party.
Okay, is the agent available?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee. I'm Ian Rutledge. I'm the agent here on behalf of Canadian Tire Properties, Inc., the owner of the property.
Okay. Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, we have read the comments and we support the staff recommendation to approve the variances. We have nothing further to add and no questions at this time.
Okay, is there one citizen?
Yes, we will hear from Pat and Ralph Fiore.
Are they there?
We may have him on the phone. Just give me 1 minute. So I believe if Pat and Ralph Fiore have called in, you will just need to press *6 or *9 to unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and Madam Chair. Our concern basically is that the structure should be moved to next door to the Canadian Tire car wash. This would provide the least amount of impact to the properties that we own on Upper James. especially they want a drive-through, which we're not really in favor, simply because various issues from the environment. People talk about the environment, and more drive-throughs are coming into the city. And in this location, what happens is I have residential tenants, and behind us we have a daycare. But fortunately, they weren't able to speak. But on our property, we have approximately, or our block, there's approximately 100 people living there. So there is quite an impact. And part of the impact, and I'm sure the committee has dealt with many of these, with these drive-throughs. And at the begin, there's the drive-through right on Upper James, the Tim Hortons, where they're parked onto Upper James. Now, the city has the 3-minute idling bylaw, but no one ever follows that. There's the A&W on Upper James. When you're going northbound, they're backed up onto Upper James Street. There's the Tim Hortons on Upper Wentworth. They're drive-through, and they're backed up onto Upper Wentworth in the morning. And the famous one on Tim Hortons, Wilson Street in Ancaster in the core, you're able to drive around them, but they're also parked on the street. And that's our main concern, because there's the city idling bylaw, and I don't know if anyone follows any of these bylaws, but it is in 3 consecutive minutes in a 60-minute period. This is one of our concerns, and most of it is concerning its location. By moving the structure next to the car wash, it gives us a further buffer zone. And also, Canadian Tire has been using the land where they want to put this structure as their snow clearing area. If you were here, I mean, it's a beautiful day today, but if you're here in the dead of winter, that full parking lot is full of snow. You know, that's an issue concerning that. The other issues we have is mostly the impact on people, and also violence at these fast food operations. The one Tim Hortons on King and Caroline, they've had approximately 4 deaths and numerous stabbings. The A&W on King Street in Hess, downtown, they have a full-time hired security guard just so you can buy a hamburger at that location. And it varies throughout the area. But most of it is concerning the location. Then when we look at the variances, one that we must have is the planting a strip, you know, whatever the committee decides as a buffer zone, because there's only relatively less than 12 parking spots from the fire exit route, which makes it very close to our property. And our thing about the drive-through or having a patio is the amount of noise that's generated from it. We still think the best location is the car wash, simply because customers could go inside Canadian Tire, purchase their products, they could fill up on gas, have a car wash, and then they can eat at the fast food place, which is perfect. And a lot of places like Esso and other Petrocan have the same type of setup, where it's 1-2, people generally gas up and pick up something on the go. To me, we think that that's ideal, and it's a very workable arrangement. They want to reduce, the stocking spaces for the facility for the drive-through, which even at 10 is never enough that they want. They should at least follow the bylaw. And the outdoor patio, I'm not too thrilled about it, but we're really not too interested in that. Having a store, you go in and you shop, you buy you whatever, and you come out. That's great. And there's plenty of parking throughout the lot. We have a huge number of volume that comes through Canadian Tire, Food Basic. Food Basic also has a pharmacy with no delivery, and there's a lot of people that come our way, which is good. But the other impact that we do have is at the intersection of Richwell and Upper James, which abuts our property. And the committee ever, if they live in the city and you ever try, I welcome anyone to cross that intersection and take your life in your own hands. And especially when people are making a right-hand turn, leaving the Canadian Tire or Food Basic, it interferes with our brakes to get onto the property. To make a left-hand turn, we've seen many Canadian Tire and Food Basic vehicles and transports having a heck of a time trying to make a left-hand turn out of the property. These are some of the issues, but the simplest one is if they moved it to the further end of the property, they can pretty well, they're not interfering with us and the residential people. I have Ralph here, and he'll address the traffic concerns.
Oh, thank you. Before we get into the traffic, one observation I like to make is on this corner, as it is right now, there's a Food Basic, which also operates a pharmacy, which gives you double the amount of traffic because they don't have delivery. So you have those two going on at that corner, plus you have the Canadian Tire, you have a car wash, you have a windshield repair place. That's it. So we have all that. Now we want to add in some more traffic. And where that corner is, which is the southwest, again, it's a very dangerous corner. There's been numerous accidents that I've actually witnessed, but my tenants have also witnessed a lot more because they live here. And that little strip there of driveway, the trucks need to get in there for delivery for Food Basics and for Canadian Tire. So they use that to come in and come out. And they usually make a left to go back onto the link to go west. So that, again, and that's that Richwell corner. It's very dangerous here. And the other thing that happens here is on that corner, I would gladly meet with anyone to show you probably 85% of the time, people do not stop at that corner. They almost go right through. And if I'm on that corner working at the building, I cannot face my back to that traffic. It is that dangerous. You always have to have your head up. And the speeding on that area there, it just seems to, I don't know what's going on there, but my tenants also report to me between 8 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the morning, it becomes a drag strip on top of all the other issues that we have. So I've spoken to my tenants. So we're talking about 4 buildings, and everyone I spoke to do not want this because they do have young families and children. I know that they start off with these fast foods being open until 12 p.m. But within months into this, I could see it becoming a 24 operation, which again comes into the noise and traffic issues, especially at the later 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I don't know what else more I can say that goes on with this traffic and the safety part of it. And we still need that buffer, but I think what Pat was saying hits it right on. If it's moved over to where the car wash area is, it gives us a big buffer zone. And there's empty space there. There's nothing going on there as well. So that's what I want to add to it. I've spoken to my tenants. They'll also sign a petition if they have to, because none of them want it there. Okay?
Those were the only interested parties, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. I guess to the agent, do you have any wishes of moving
the building? Sorry, is that what you're saying?
Yes. That's the complaint.
That's not really something we're going to consider, especially at this stage in the process. We've been through very lengthy site plan approval process with the planning department. It's been reviewed by all departments, including transportation, who's looked at traffic issues, all those things, and they're all happy with the proposal that we have forward today. So, I mean, I'll just remind the committee that these uses are permitted, that the restaurant use is a permitted use. This is a commercial site. The drive-through is also a permitted use. We are just here to sort of clean up a few minor zoning issues. So, I mean, just a few other points that were brought up. The landscaping, I mean, we are providing a significant amount of new landscaping within this development area. We're providing a large 3-meter wide landscape strip along Upper James for that whole area that we're proposing to redevelop.
Just an application, it's a couple $100. It's a corridor.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's all I really have to add.
Yeah, it's from 1986.
I have Kathleen here, who's the owner. If she has anything further to add, I'm not sure, but I think we're ready to sort of move forward with the application. Or if you have any questions, we'd be happy to hear.
Does the committee have any questions at this time?
I have Nancy with questions or comments.
I do. To the agent, variant 6 and variant 7 leave me a little bewildered. I get that you're talking about a landscaping fix up there, but 12 meters, which is a significant distance, versus 0 meters, really doesn't sit well with me, being that I would be a neighbor on either of those two streets there, or in those two buildings that were mentioned by the neighbors. Is there no way in hell that could be shortened down to something a little further away from that cement along that wall? That's a long, 12 is a long, yeah, that's a big difference. That's not even a minor variance.
I'm not sure if I understand your question.
That's not a minor variance in my mind. What is permitted is 12-meter distance from residential zone, and you're asking for 0.
Okay. Oh, you're referring to the drive-through facility setback?
And yeah, number 6, yeah.
Well, if you actually read the zoning provision, it does specify that the drive-through facility itself must be set back 12 meters from a residential zone. I mean, we're not proposing this drive-through facility abutting the residential zone. It's well within our site. It's I don't know how many meters, but I would say probably over 60, 70 meters, somewhere around. Like it's quite far from that residential zone. So
it is, okay, because
yeah,
there's a driveway there now.
The intent of the bylaw is just to ensure that drive-throughs are not right against a residential zone.
Absolutely.
We're definitely quite far from that residential zone.
Okay, so you're not against that driveway that's currently there.
We're right. Yeah, no, we're not. I don't have the actual distance from the drive-through to the residential zone, but it is well over the 12-meter requirement. It's probably over 60 meters as well. So like it's quite a distance.
Just if you read that variance, it does say 0.
Yes.
Tom Lofchick here, if I may. I think it says 0 from the lot line, rather than the building itself. That is the lot that the property is on is 0 meters from the residential area, but not the building is much further than that.
That's right.
That's what the applicant says. Thank you. Thank you, Ian.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Any other committee members? No questions? Is there a motion?
In those conditions, I'll move it.
Sorry, that was with the condition?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. And I had Bob seconding.
Okay, all in favor?
Here.
Here.
Opposed?
Seeing none?
Motion carried, application approved.
Thank you very much.
All right, and we are all set for the next file. We are hearing GLB 2243 for 0 Rymel Road East in Glanbrook. We have the owner registered to speak and no other interested parties.
Okay, is the owner available?
Yes, I am. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dave Pitblato, here on behalf of the owner, and we have reviewed the consolidation report, the staff comments, and have no objection with the conditions as proposed in the staff report. I did want to just point out one typo. Maybe it's consequential, maybe it's not, but I wanted to point it out nonetheless. On the report on page 4 of 9, in the first, the paragraph at the top underneath development planning dash suburban, the sentence reads, the purpose of this application is to convey a parcel of land for employment industrial purposes, part 1, and to retain 2 parcels of lands for commercial, part 1. I believe that first part 1 should reference part 2, being the middle piece. So I just wanted to point out that one typo. But other than that, we're in full support of the staff's position.
Okay, thank you. You got that change?
Yes, I have noted that change, and I did want to note that corporate services had also requested a condition that was not on the consolidated list.
Okay, and that condition is?
It is for a payment of $8,295. I believe it was one of the last comments in that report.
We have a letter.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. There was a email letter from the corporate services.
Okay.
And sorry, that was in the package?
Is aware of that, or the owner?
No, I just want to verify that was in the package that was available?
Yes, that's correct. It was one of the last comments. It was noted from Eilish Brook, and then there was a whole list of explanation in the bylaw that was applicable and where that came from.
No objection, no objection. We'll pay our fair share.
Okay, move it with that attachment.
Okay, seconder?
I'll second.
Margaret? All in favor?
Here.
Yep. Opposed?
Seeing none?
Motion carried, application approved.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Hello?
All right, and we are all set for the next file. So we are hearing HMB 2240 for 289 Stone Church Road East. We have the agent registered to speak, as well as Councillor Pauls.
Okay, is the agent available?
Trevor Hawkins from MHBC, representing the property owner.
Hey, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
We did. We reviewed the comments. There was one area where we did want to clarify matters for the committee. Condition 7 speaks to the demolition of 2 accessory structures on the lands to be conveyed. And I think there was a mix-up in the city's GIS fabric, and there may in fact be 2 properties that have the same municipal address. So there is another property just to the east of 289 Stone Church, the sort of lands to be conveyed, that has a house with accessory structures. The actual lands to be conveyed in this situation do not have any structures. And we did alert staff to that effect. So we just didn't want to have a condition here that we can't satisfy because there aren't any structures that we can demolish.
Okay. Counselor, are you available?
Yeah, I'm just actually here to observe, and if there's any other comments by any of the residents, but that's all I'm here for.
Okay.
Move it.
Seconder.
So, sorry, that was moved for approval. I missed who moved it. And was that with condition 7 removed, or was that with condition 7 on?
With condition 7 removed, there isn't a property on that parcel. Or there isn't a physical building on that property.
Okay, thank you. So that was moved by Bob and seconded by Mark.
Okay, all in favor?
Here.
Opposed?
Seeing none?
Seeing none, application carried. Motion carried, application approved.
Thank you.
All right, and we're all set for the next file. We're hearing, sorry, just making sure I'm on the right file, yes. So we're hearing HMA 22168 for 96 Greyfriar Drive in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak and several interested parties.
Okay, is the agent available?
Yes, hello, Andy Trent from Sweet Additions, representing homeowner Fazo Nakvi.
Yes, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I've had an opportunity to review the comments. It appears based on the housekeeping amendments that took effect on June 8th, the minor variance for the additional parking for the SDUs are no longer required. However, as there were concerns raised by some of the local residents, I would like to add some comments and I can be available for any questions.
Okay, do you want to go ahead with your comments?
Yes, please. So it appears there are repeated concerns of over-intensification, changing the character of the neighborhood, overusing of existing infrastructure, and similar sentiments. These are all issues that have been taken extensively into consideration by planning staff when drafting the bylaws. I would like to add that the original variants for this application were indeed minor in nature, and that it should be the focus for this application by residents, as there is sufficient parking in the existing driveway for 2 vehicles, except we would have to get a boulevard encroachment agreement with the parking department, which we've done many times in the past for similar SDU conversion projects. In this case, there will be no off-site parking on the streets, which I know is a concern for many of the local residents. In addition, this project is in line with the official plan of Hamilton for 2 SDUs. It's in compliance with the provincial mandate of Bill 108 for 2 accessory suites on a single property. It's desirable for the city to have more intensification to the existing low-density areas, and it takes an underutilized garage that is being used for storage and converts it into a much-needed dwelling unit. So that's all I have, Mr. Sheriff. Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, do you mind if I clarify with the applicant? Are you still wishing to proceed with the decision by the committee, or are you withdrawing your application?
Sorry, was that question directed at me?
Yeah.
Yes, that was.
Yeah, so it's no longer required, so we are withdrawing the application, but I just wanted to be available for any questions because it was listed there. It was still on the agenda.
Thank you so much for the clarification.
Okay, so the only one question that I have here on this application, if you look at the zoning comments, and so I understand that the bylaw amendment was June the 8th, but under the zoning comments, it says, however, the bylaw number 22-137 is not yet final and binding. So those changes aren't officially in effect if I read that properly.
Mr.
So
Chairman,
perhaps you might want to table it until it becomes firm and binding.
That's what I would recommend.
You can't.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, we do have Alana Fulford who might be able to offer some further clarification on the appeal rights with regards to this zoning bylaw.
Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon. Yes, the bylaw was approved by council on June 8th. And so the final date of appeal is still pending on that.
There's no date yet, is that what you're saying?
Well, it has to go through the 20-day appeal period still.
Right, right.
Has anybody appealed it thus far?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so we're at the 8th, is the 23rd, that's 15 days, so there's another 2 weeks roughly, correct?
I'd have to get the exact date when it was sent out by clerks. It would be likely in the next few days, probably. Let's see.
Sorry, for clarification, is there the same appeal rights for secondary dwelling unit?
Oh, right. I'm sorry about that. Well, the appeal, my apologies. There is an appeal period. Thanks for noting that. There is an appeal period. It can only be appealed by the ministry. My apologies on that.
Ooh.
So we still have to wait for the appeal period to, occur. But that is correct. It's only appealable by the ministry.
Did I hear correctly that individuals cannot appeal? Just the ministry can appeal?
That's correct, because it is with respect to secondary dwelling units.
So
Why
don't we just make it conditional on it being on the bylaw being approved?
No, they're withdrawing their application. So either withdraw it and it's completely over, and then if it's appealed and the appeal is successful, you'd have to reapply, or table it until it's not appealed, and then you can withdraw it later.
May I
There's
say,
too much more
may I have a
debate
turn,
we need
please?
right now. Sure.
Go ahead, Nancy.
Thank you. And the same things, I agree with Mark on the latter, because there are other applications coming up today that have the same thing, and I'd like to make sure we treat them all exactly the same. Until that appeal period has passed, it would make sense, just for the benefit of the applicant, to have that ratified before, or unappealed before we give it the okay. I would hate for them to have to come back a second time.
I agree with you, Nancy.
Did I make
So
a
I'll make
motion for tabling?
Thank you, Mark. I'll second it.
Okay, well, if you table it, if I may, if you table it, they will have to come back. Can it not
They
be
can just
approved
withdraw it
tonight?
without coming back. They can call in and withdraw it.
Correct.
They'll have to submit a written request to withdraw it.
That's fine.
Oh, I see. All right. I suppose the other alternative is to approve it conditional on no appeal.
No, we can't approve it because he's withdrawing the application. We either withdraw it or we table
it. Change his mind.
Yeah.
I just thought he might change his mind, but anyway, that's fine.
Okay, we have a motion on the table.
Can I have a question? Sorry. My apologies, but I was confused on the process when speaking to planning staff. I was advised that it was not required and we could withdraw it, but I did see it in the comments and it's still in the schedule, and that's why I made myself available for this. So I'm more than happy to table it based on the new information that's been provided.
Thank you.
Thanks. So there's a motion, it's been seconded. All in favor of table?
Here.
Opposed?
Seeing none?
Okay, motion is carried, application is tabled.
And for the interest of the interested parties, if the application is heard again, a new notice will be circulated and you will be provided with notice.
In the meantime, the concerned citizens maybe should contact their counselor with their complaints on the parking.
And for the next file, so we had a HMA 22-163 for 371 East 28th Street in Hamilton. And this application was withdrawn in writing, but unfortunately it was not correctly noted on the comments package, and so it was circulated as though it was still going towards. But we did receive a written request from the owner of the property to withdraw HMA 22163 for 371 East 28th Street in Hamilton.
Okay.
If the parking issue is amended later, then they would have to reapply.
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
Right, and we are all set for the next file. We are hearing HMA 22166 for 1411 and 1415 Upper Wellington Street in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak, as well as Councillor Pauls.
Okay, is the agent available?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chair. I'm here, Dinah Morris, Senior Planner at T. Johns Consulting Group.
Yes. Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, we have reviewed the staff report and the associated conditions, and we are in agreement.
Okay, Councillor, comments?
No, I'm here just to support and to, if there was anybody opposing, or I'm here just to observe. Thank you.
Okay.
Motion for
Have any
approval.
questions? Okay.
Move for
Is the
approval.
motion seconded?
Second.
All in favor? Here. Opposed?
Seeing none?
Seeing none, motion carried, application approved.
Great. Thank you very much, everyone.
All right, and we are all set for the next file. So we are hearing HMA 22173 for 225 East 24th Street in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak, as well as one interested party.
Okay, is the agent available?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, but I disagree because we actually do have a permit for this. Now, the permit was issued in 2019, 2020. And the law wasn't changed, the bylaw wasn't changed until 2021 in May. So we were unaware of what was happening when they took away the duplex and turned it into an auxiliary unit. So we were unaware that this was happening while we were doing the construction. Now we did alter the construction, of course, and then we did put in for a revision. But we were told at the time that it wouldn't matter, the extra door. It turned out it did matter. So we're at quite a loss here because we started this permit knowing that we were going to duplex it. And then, of course, now we're stuck with an auxiliary unit. So we don't know what's going on.
So are you allowed to have a duplex in this zone?
Sorry?
Are you allowed to have a duplex in this zone?
Yes, the building is older than 5 years old. We're allowed to have a duplex.
So I'm a bit confused because, you know, if you're allowed to have a duplex, then why are you applying under the SDU?
We did the application when the old bylaws were in effect. We were told that it wouldn't make a difference if we put the door there, and we did. And then we had to make a revision, so we put the plans back into the city under a revision. Again, we already had a permit. With the revision, though, got stopped because of the door. They said we needed a minor variance. So we're sort of stuck halfway between two bylaws.
So is there someone from planning that can make some comments here? Because we had an application 2 weeks ago and similar, 2 doors facing the street, and the city had no problem with it being an SDU with a separate entrance facing the street. And yet today, we have an application, 2 doors facing the street, one's for an SDU, and the planning staff is recommending denial.
Hello, my name is Christine Vandrich, speaking on behalf of the planning staff. So through you, Mr. Chair, when we looked at this, we were actually looking at the former Hamilton zoning bylaw, 6593, and the zone that they're in is the urban protected residential 1-2 family dwellings and etc. D zone. And according to section 10.8, it states any alteration, extension, or enlargement of the continuing uses after the passing of the bylaw shall be permitted. So a townhouse dwelling subject to the R10 district provisions and street townhouse dwelling subject to RT30 district provisions. So that wasn't allowing for the duplex, and with the amending bylaw 21076 section 2.19.19 states that a single detached dwelling containing a secondary dwelling unit shall not be considered a duplex or triplex, and the section 2.19.117 states that any separate entrance and exit to the secondary dwelling unit shall be oriented towards the interior side lot line and rear lot line. So based on this information, because of the fact that it is facing the front lot line, that was the reason that that we were looking to not support the variance. If it was facing the side lot line, then it wouldn't, or the rear, wouldn't have been an issue. However, because duplexes aren't actually allowed in this zone, that was part of the reason that we ended up proposing that that this isn't supported.
But we already got a permit on it. We're just going for some changes now.
So if I could just ask the question, again, 2 weeks ago, we had an application. It was a brand new build, and they were applying for a second door facing the road for an SDU, and planning had no problems with that, even though it was directly against the bylaw, and it passed by a unanimous vote. And yet here we are again, and now you're recommending denial.
The reason for the denial is because of it becoming a duplex, and there isn't duplexes allowed in this section based on the zoning. And that was why I'd stated at the beginning that it speaks to the urban protected residential 1-2 family, etc. D zone, states that you can have a townhouse dwelling and street townhouse dwelling. However, duplex is not included as the types of dwellings that are allowed for this area. And so that was the reason that we looked at that.
Okay. Sorry, but isn't a 2-family dwelling considered a duplex? I don't understand that. And again, we already have a permit for this house to duplex it.
Could I suggest that this is a situation where the applicant has been caught between a couple of changes, and maybe a table to have that discussion again, because I'm sure there's copies of the permit and what's on it, and what the approvals were for, that they can sort out and find out how it was caught between 2 different bylaws.
We're looking actually at not tabling this because actually the property's been sold. But it all hinges on this hearing. Because the property has changed hands already, has been sold. The new owners have taken control of it already. However, the old owner is still going through this. The new owner is very understanding
Well, I'm
and
not sure.
allowing us to do
We
this.
understand your situation, but, you know, because of the severity of this, you know, it's classified as a duplex, and duplexes aren't allowed in this area.
But
There's
if I may,
But we got a permit. We already received a permit in early 2020 allowing us to duplex the house. We have a permit.
I think
So
that's
it's already
why.
been through the building department and
Okay,
already got a permit to duplex.
Okay.
Now you're telling me I can't duplex it? They shouldn't have issued the permit?
What we're suggesting to you from one of the committee members is to table it and get this sorted out with your permits, with planning, or with the counselor in that area, because obviously you've been caught between two changes in policies, and you need to get it straightened out with the planning department.
But does not my permit, my existing permit, account for anything? You're telling me I can't have a duplex, yet they issued me a duplex permit, a permit to duplex the house.
And this is why we're suggesting to table, so that you can sort this out, so you can have favorable comments from planning instead of a recommendation of denial. But if you want us to carry on with this and to make a vote, we will.
Now I'm caught between a rock and a hard place. Because if I recommend that we go ahead with the vote, I'll lose. And there's no reason why I should lose, because I was issued a permit based on the fact that I was duplexing the house.
Without a copy
And
of
they
that.
issued the permit. So I don't understand what I did wrong. I did this according to the old rules. Yes.
well, you must have a piece of documentation from the city that says you're allowed to do
Yeah,
a
I have the
duplex.
permit.
But it's not before
I have
us.
a permit.
Yeah, but it's not here, is it? We can't look at it.
No.
It's not
But
part
no
of the
one
material
asked
you
for it.
filed.
I mean,
Sorry?
no one asked for it. Did no one actually do their homework on the fifth floor and say, hey, there's a permit that was issued in 2019 to duplex this house, but no one bothered to look at it. It is down there in your place of work. There's nothing hiding here. I don't understand why.
We want to give you the option of tabling.
Mr. Chairman, we do have also interested parties who have registered to speak as well.
Okay, speak. Go ahead.
Okay, we have Councillor Paul's registered to speak.
Councillor?
Yes, I was just going to, that's why I'm here. I actually drove by and I did see the two doors, but I don't understand the word duplex and auxiliary unit. Can the duplex be changed to something else if it's just two family living there? I think it's the wording, you know. I just make it clear to me what's going on. He has a permit for duplex, right? But it's not allowed. Should we change the word duplex to two families, or can you help me out?
I think the issue is, what's the difference between a two-family dwelling and a single-family dwelling that has a secondary dwelling unit?
Right. So what's the difference?
I'm listening.
Where's Joe? Or somebody?
My understanding of the difference is a secondary dwelling unit has to have at least 65 square meters in it. Has to have its own entrance.
Not facing the
has
road.
to be the smaller of the two units.
Okay, so why don't we do this? We have to find out why he got a permit in 2019. If we could prove that he got a permit, then, you know, should we should we just pass it?
I make a motion.
I don't understand.
Melvin?
Look, we've been going round and round in circles here and not getting any place. Let's get this sorted out between the applicant and the planning department. I would recommend that we table this till get that sorted out and bring it back, because we're not getting anywhere where we are right now, so.
Thank you, Melvin. I think that's the best thing to do. Table it right away and see what the planning says.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, we did have one other interested party who was registered to speak.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, we'll hear that person.
Okay, so we're hearing from Claude Jarvis. You'll just have to unmute yourself, sorry.
There we go. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yep.
Okay, so to be perfectly clear, this is a triplex.
Oh.
There's 3 families living in this unit.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Okay, so I wanted to speak because I grew up around the neighborhood. I've spoken to a few neighbors, and this is Esther Paul's neighborhood. That's the confusion here. I don't understand how they got the building permit, and yet they're requesting the deck requirements. The deck's already built. It was advertised in February that it is 3 units, that it is a triplex with a loft. There's an elderly couple, there's a younger couple, and a gentleman that lives in this. There is an alleyway in the back, but it isn't, you can't access it to get to the main dwelling. And in between these homes, there's absolutely no room to get emergency vehicles in if needed. They've converted the front lawn to 100%, not 50% landscaping. It's all converted into a driveway and are now awaiting for an approach. So I don't know how this happened or what's happening, but there's a number of neighbors that are concerned here. They just don't know how to approach it. I've been involved in these somewhat. And like I said, I wish the owner would be more transparent and say that it is in fact a triplex, and that is definitely not allowed. Appreciate your time.
Hold on a second here. I do not know that it's triplex. I only know that it's a duplex because I did it. I did it as a duplex.
It's advertised on MLS this past February, 3 units.
Well, I don't look at MLS. I'm not interested in the real estate board.
Okay,
All I'm
we have
interested in
comments
is
from
doing it.
committee members now. I believe we have Nancy wishing to speak.
Once again, this needs to be tabled. Whether you listen to MLS or not, Mr. Sterling, I'm reading the listing right now, and it reads legal duplex with separate basement unit. That's exactly what the listing reads. And if that's an issue, then that's up to you and somebody and the listing realtor to sort out. So I'm going to make that motion rather than a recommendation for tabling, and I'm hoping someone will second it.
I'll second it. Mel made the motion, but I'll take you, Nancy, as a seconder.
He recommended it, he didn't make it.
Can you give me the motion again, please? I said I would do it. Yeah, okay, doesn't matter. I'll second Nancy's,
I'll
whatever.
second, I don't care.
Okay,
I'll
so
third.
what's the motion?
The motion is to table the.
What is the motion?
The table.
To table it?
The motion on the floor is to table the application to be heard at a separate date.
Thank you.
All right, I'll bring the drawings down to the 5th floor of City Hall in the permit. So
Okay,
you'll have a
all in
copy
favor?
of the permit.
Opposed?
Being none.
Motion carried, application tabled.
Thank you.
And for the interest of
Thank
the
you.
interested parties, you will be noted when a new hearing date is set.
Right, thank you.
We are all set for the next files. They are separate files, but I believe they can be heard together if the committee members are amenable to that.
Yep.
Okay.
Is that okay with the committee?
Yes.
Hearing no negative? Yes, go ahead.
All right. So we will hear HMB 2246, HMB 2247, HMB 2248, HMB 2249, HMB 2250, HMB 2251, HMB 2253, HMB 2254, HMB 2255, and HMB 2256 for 389 Lime Ridge Road East in Hamilton. We have the agents registered to speak and one interested party.
You missed one,
And I believe
Jamila.
I missed HMB 2252.
Good job.
All of those files we are hearing right now.
That's a mouthful. Is the agent available?
Good afternoon, members of the committee. Matt Johnston, a registered professional planner with Urban Solutions.
Yes, Matt, did you have a chance to read all the comments?
I have, and I do have a brief presentation. We're supportive of the ultimate position, but there is a sequencing exercise I just want to walk the committee through with regards to some of the conditions. So if you can indulge me to share my screen for just a couple minutes, I'll walk through fairly quickly.
Time's up.
Okay.
2 minutes.
Sorry.
All right, I'm ready. So first of all, before I get going, we did learn about our good friend and colleague Martha Miniano. We, on behalf of Urban Solutions, just wanted to say a huge thank you for all her hard work over the years, and congratulations on her retirement with her last day coming soon. So Martha, I see you on the line. Thanks again. You've been just a pleasure to get to know over the years and work with. So thank you. Congrats. Today we're here on behalf of the Anchi Shalom, who are the owners of this cemetery on Lime Ridge Road. And as you can see on the screen here, there's what we call a surplus area of the cemetery. And I can confirm that the cemetery is not registered on this portion of the lands, which allows it to be considered for development. From a policy framework, we're in a neighborhoods designation in the official plan. From a zoning perspective, the lands are located in that I-1 zone, neighborhood institutional, which permits semi-detached dwellings. And what we have is a series of applications to ultimately develop for the semi-detached purposes. And the first application is key, and this is what I really would just want to talk to you about, the conditions of approval. The Anchi Shalom is certainly not a developer. Ultimately, the proponent for building these homes is the Spalachi Group. And what we'd like to do, and what we've spoken to staff about, is limiting the conditions of approval for the first severance to the really administrative ones. And what that does is rejig the conditions of approval. So things that you see in the staff report related to servicing, noise studies, tree protection, get not removed entirely from the whole process, but removed from the first application. What that'll do is allow the consent certificate to be issued, and then the real developer come through and advance the clearing of the more development-related conditions. So that's what's happening on the first severance, is the simple removal of the surplus lands from the cemetery lands. Then the series of the balance of the applications, there's 10 of them, ultimately creating the 20 lots that I have on the screen here. And what we are proposing to do, and what we have email correspondence from planning staff, planning technician Aman, who has confirmed that staff are satisfied with this reorganization of conditions, where you see on the left-hand side of the screen, we have the first application limited to 5 conditions. And on the right-hand side of the screen, we have a total of 8 conditions for the balance of all the other applications. So they would all get the same conditions of approval. And the conditions that you see on the screen have been circulated to the Secretary Treasurer, to Jamila. So she does have these, this modified arrangement of the conditions. And that would be my ask, that the committee support the reorganization of the conditions on this basis. One other email correspondence that we have in front of Jamila is confirmation from Director of Transportation Planning, Brian Hollingworth. In the package, you'll see 3 conditions related to road widenings. 2 of them have different sized daylight triangles. And one of them, and then there's the one for the 3-meter widening on Lime Ridge. And that, what Brian Hollingworth has done through email correspondence is confirm that the smaller daylight triangle is required by city staff. and that the widening on the north side of Lime Ridge can be waived on the premise that this portion of Lime Ridge Road is still technically a collector road in the official plan, requiring a larger right-of-way. But because it dead ends just at the east end of the cemetery, it really functions as a local road, and there's no need for the widening. So with that, I would be asking the committee to approve the severance applications subject to the conditions as modified by the correspondence in front of Jamila. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Sorry.
Okay, thanks for that. Does committee have any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, just as a reminder, we do have interested parties for this file.
Yep.
I could add, as I understand Councillor Pauls is here, Urban Solutions did meet with Councillor Pauls and an area resident, so I just wanted to acknowledge that. We do see the petition, but I think that the supportive staff report, the existing zoning certainly contemplates this use, and we're just implementing the as of right permissions. Thank you.
Okay. Maybe we can hear from the interested party.
Okay, so we have Councillor Pauls registered to speak.
Thank you, and thank you, Jonathan. Yes, I did meet with a few of the residents that were concerned on titmouse, and I met also with Sarah that's here speaking. And some of the concern, and she will explain, are traffic, parking, cutting of mature trees and grading of services. But so she'll be here explaining, and I'm here to observe. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions?
We have one more interested party, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. So we have Sarah Andres registered to speak.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Sarah Andrews. I'm a resident of 14 Kingfisher Drive, which is directly across from the proposed severance. I have submitted a written statement to this committee, along with a petition with over 100 signatures from my neighbors, to express our concerns with the current severance plan. I would like to emphasize that we understand Hamilton needs more housing within the urban boundary, and we are not opposed to development on the severance. We are concerned about the density of housing being proposed by the creation of 20 new lots. I would like to briefly summarize the main concerns and possible suggestions for the redesign of this severance plan. First, the severance package indicates the new lots would exit directly onto Kingfisher Drive and Lime Ridge Road East. If 20 semi-detached units are built, this could add as many as 40 vehicles or more to the area. Given that there are already speeding issues along Kingfisher, we are concerned about the increase in traffic. I myself have come close to being rear-ended many times while turning into my driveway by speeding vehicles, thinking I was aiming for the stop sign farther along. We are particularly concerned for pedestrian safety. There is much pedestrian activity along Kingfisher on the side of the proposed development, many of which are children, as it is the main thoroughfare between our neighborhood and nearby retail businesses, including Lime Ridge Mall and McDonald's. An additional 40 cars entering and exiting driveways along these roads will pose an increased danger to pedestrians, and Hamilton has already had too many accidents and deaths this year from vehicle-pedestrian collisions. Our other major concern is the lack of on-street parking to accommodate these new homes. The proposed lots are similar in size to the recent development of semi-detached housing nearby on Bobolink Drive. We have seen on Bobolink Drive how the driveways for each unit can accommodate only a single vehicle, yet many families have at minimum 2. While these houses have garages, many people, regardless of how large their garage is, use their garage for storage, especially if the house is smaller. This leaves the extra vehicle parked on the streets. In the Bobolink area, this has led to crowded streets that have become single lanes due to parking. And on Kingfisher, there is no street parking. Lime Ridge Road East has street parking, but it is already full on a daily basis from the condos, apartments, and subsidized housing that line that street. Add to that, if these new houses have company over, street parking will overflow into the adjacent streets, leading to traffic congestion and dangerous driving conditions. We are asking you, the committee, to oppose the current severance and only approve it once the following considerations have been taken into account. First, we ask that the severance is divided into fewer lots, ideally half the proposed number for single detached homes, and larger in size similar to the surrounding single detached homes where the frontage ranges from 10 to 15 meters rather than the proposed 7.96 meters. Fewer lots would reduce traffic concerns and pose less of a danger to pedestrian safety. We would also suggest that each lot does not exit directly onto Kingfisher and Lime Ridge Road East, but rather have the front of the houses face opposite Kingfisher and build a new road there exiting onto Lime Ridge Road East. This would help control the flow of traffic, similar to what the condos and apartments on Lime Ridge Road already do. It would also increase pedestrian safety as people wouldn't be dodging 20 driveways. And most importantly, it would provide on-street parking for new homeowners and their visitors. Finally, we greatly appreciate the condition of a noise study on the Severance approval, as the current green space provides a noise buffer from Upper Wentworth and the link. We would also like a traffic study to be carried out to make sure the new plans will keep the neighborhood safe for both vehicles, pedestrians, and cyclists as a condition of acceptance for the Severance plans. I hope you will take the comments and suggestions from myself and over 100 of my neighbors on the petition and the additional written statements submitted into consideration before you make your final decision. I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. To the committee, questions?
I have Melvin with a question.
Yeah, I just, something I read on one of the replies from one of the neighbors was, within the cemetery near one of the flowers bed, there's a burial site for the War of 1812. Does that interfere with plans you got there? That's
through the chair to the committee. The cemetery has recently gone through, there's quite a bit of a story to get to where we are today, in that originally the cemetery wasn't actually registered. And before we could really even entertain a severance, we had to register the cemetery on the lands occupied by the burials. And through that process, the actual individual grave locations were all identified, and the limit of that area was specifically defined. So through the registration of the cemetery and delineation of what is then surplus, we are able to proceed without any specific limitations as a result of the age of the cemetery itself.
Okay, I just wondered whether that was involved with it or you knew where it was, so that's all right.
I'm still curious. It's an 1812 memorial site. Is that what we're talking about?
That's
Is it
part
of the cemetery? Is it part of the cemetery, or in the land that's being retained, or as a cemetery, or is it somewhere else?
So I'm unfamiliar with a specific burial plot related to 1812. What I can confirm for the committee is that the BAO who registers cemeteries has been fully consulted and engaged with the registration of this cemetery. The limits of the cemetery are all captured and now fully registered, whereas prior to the pursuit of severing surplus lands, the cemetery was just actually existed. It was never formally registered with the province, but it is now, and the limits of the cemetery are appropriately captured.
I have, Margaret with a question.
Yes. I notice in the comments that a zoning bylaw amendment has been approved, and it was approved earlier this year. And that was mainly to designate the cemetery as institutional. And it says, which allows the use of semi-detached dwellings. When that zoning bylaw was going through, it was, of course, a public process. Were the documents that when they were provided, did it show the proposed semi-detached dwellings as they're shown here, or was it just shown as future development? To Matt.
So the previous zoning of the lands were historically in a remnant agricultural zone.
Mm-hmm.
And the decision to put it into an institutional zone was really a housekeeping amendment, a part of a larger housekeeping amendment that was done with a number of citywide touch-ups to the zoning bylaw. And that's how this application was captured. So the decision to put it in an institutional zone was part of the housekeeping amendment, not driven by a development application.
So the actual zoning bylaw itself designates the entire property as institutional.
That's right.
Okay.
And that institutional zone permits a range of uses that include community garden, day nursery, duplex dwellings, places of worship, retirement home, semi-detached dwellings, single detached dwellings, an urban farm, a farmer's market. So there's quite a range and scale of density permissions when you include things like the residential care facility, the retirement home. The as of right zoning accommodates the semi-detached dwellings with no variances to lot area or lot frontage. So it's fully compliant to the zoning bylaw in that regard.
Okay, so at the time that residents would have seen the public notice for the rezoning, it wouldn't have showed that there was going to be future development on the property. I'm just trying to figure out whether this is the first time that that this development has come before them, or whether it was also mentioned as future development in the past, but it sounds like it hasn't. This is our first shot at this.
And that's correct. So the housekeeping amendment was advertised in accordance with the Planning Act to change from agricultural to the I-1. The I-1 permits the range of uses, and then the temple acted on that through this proposal. So it is the first circulation of the development proposal.
Okay, thanks.
Any further questions? Motion?
Maybe Nancy? I'm not sure. Nancy, were you raising your hand?
I will. With all due respect to comments from the neighbors, and I've read all of the letters fairly thoroughly, seeing much of the same thing, mostly regarding traffic issues. Traffic issues, as I say with no prejudice, are not the issue in front of us today. And I know that's something that's dear and near to each of your hearts. So that might be something you do take up with your counselor. I've seen references made to speed bumps and that type of thing that should be there that aren't there. 20 units is not overly significant when we see other areas getting high rises of 200 units on similar sized lots. So I'd have to say that I will support the application, and I'm ready for a motion when someone's ready.
Is that with the amendments that Matt had presented in nice detail?
Yeah, I was going to just ask if the committee members were interested in me reading what those amended or proposed amended conditions, or if they understood from Matt's presentation.
Do you want to just go through it one more time? Because it is a fairly large group of people that's involved here.
Okay, so I will read what the proposed conditions are, unless the committee members would like me to refer back to how the proposed conditions were written in the comments package.
Dale? Your call, Dale.
Read what's proposed?
Yes.
Yes, what's proposed?
Okay, so the first three, so I'll go through HMB 2246, so that's the first severance, and then I'll go through the HMB 2247 to HMB 2256, the second grouping, as they've requested the same conditions for all of those additional 10 consents. So for HMB 2246, the proposed conditions are for a reference plan, for taxes to be paid, a new administrative fee for the new lot, that the applicant will conform with zoning, and that the owner will transfer a daylighting triangle being 4.5 meters by 4.5 meters. The proposed conditions for HMB 2247 to HMB 2256 are again the reference plan, the taxes, and the new administration fee. The additional conditions would be the consent agreement, that HMB 2246 be final and registered to the satisfaction of Manager of Development Planning, that a tree protection plan be obtained, that a landscape plan be obtained, and that the owner shall investigate the noise levels to the satisfaction of the Director of Planning and Chief Planner.
Okay. I'm on with that.
Is that a motion?
I'll second the motion.
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Here.
Opposed?
Seeing none?
Motion carried. Applications approved.
Thank you.
Jamila, go to sleep?
Sorry, I was just getting to the right spot. So, Mr. Chairman, we did have a break scheduled at this time. I'm not sure if we want to take 5 minutes or if we want to proceed, or if we want to take the full, I believe 15 minutes was originally scheduled.
5 minutes?
It's 3:22. How about we go to 3:30?
3:30?
7 minutes.
7 minutes.
No,
7 and
give
a
me
half.
Chance to catch up with my paperwork.
That's a good question. The Shalom already, did I miss it? Is there 2 more for Ward 7?
Pardon? So for Ward 7?
Yeah. Did I miss the Shalom on Upper Wellington?
Yes.
We just done it.
That was the one that you just
No,
spoke to.
no, not that Shalom, on the nursing home on Upper Wellington.
Oh, that was done, yeah.
Oh, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
you spoke to that already.
That was earlier.
Oh, I
That was
missed
earlier.
it. It's at 2:10, from 2:10 on. Oh, well. Okay, sorry. I was waiting for that one. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we are in.
Great to see you, Esther.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm back. I had to do my dishes.
Anybody take you up on your offer of making, having a cup of tea with you?
No, but there's another dirty cup in the sink.
Oh, that doesn't sound good. You said the door was open.
You're right. You're right.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, it is 3:30. Did you want to do roll call again or proceed?
It looked like we have most of them back.
So I can see Nancy, I can see Melvin, I can see Margaret. Thomas, are you there? I believe. Oh, it's Thomas. Okay, Mark, are you there?
He's in the space, but not the screen.
And let's see, David, are you there? Bob, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Hey.
I'm here.
Oh, and Mark's back. Perfect. So we are just missing Thomas. Oh, Thomas is back? Okay, perfect. And David?
Oh, shit. Why'd you do that? No, because I'm tired of.
Okay, let's go.
All right, so we're just missing David at the moment. So we do have quorum to proceed. So we are hearing HMA 22-165 for 43 Mahoney Avenue in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak and no other interested parties.
Okay, is the agent available?
Yes, I'm the agent, Ken Beekendam.
Yes, did you get a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, I did. I did your review of them. So this application was made before the recent changes to the SDU bylaw, eliminating the parking requirements. So a lot of these variances aren't really required anymore. However, staff did approve supporting variance 1 and supporting variance 3. So we'll accept those. It asked for a reduction in the width of 1 parking space in variance 2. Staff didn't support that. However, we only needed that variance because we needed 3 parking spaces previously, but now we don't even need any except the existing. So we're happy with the recommendation to approve the variance. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Sorry, just for clarity, are you requesting to withdraw variance 2? Is that what, or you're still requesting for the committee to hear that variance?
Well, look, our intent here is to provide as many parking spaces as we can. We feel that we can fit 3 parking spaces back there. The reason that we requested the variances we did was because of the 1 meter unobstructed pathway, which we want to maintain. So if they were to prove it, that'd be great.
I believe I have Nancy with comments or questions.
Sure, I'm sure, Ken, that you weren't on earlier. We had a similar situation, and I guess the question again is, are you withdrawing the variances regarding parking? If you're not, and you're going to follow the rest of the application, we are recommending a tabling in case there is an appeal to that decision that was made by council on June the 8th. Otherwise, you would have to reapply.
Oh, you guys just love to make it more challenging.
We're trying to make it easier one way or the other for you.
Oh my gosh.
But just so you understand, if we table it and then the bylaw does not get appealed, then you can withdraw it because you don't need it anymore. But if it does get appealed, then you'll want to bring the application back and have us hear it on the merits without the convenience of the new bylaw, and then you don't have to repay to do it again.
Okay, so I guess there really isn't any harm in tabling it.
No.
Because again, if it gets approved, then we can just withdraw this application.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're doing you a favor. So quit leaning on us like that. Motion for tabling.
Second.
Second. All in favor? Opposed?
Seeing none?
Motion carried, application tabled.
Okay, great. Thank you, everybody.
All right, and we are all set for the next file. We are hearing HMB 2244 for 83 Sanford Avenue South in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak and no other interested parties.
Okay, is the agent available?
Yes, I am. It's Porter initially. I'm legal counsel for Mr. Zuzuko. Sorry.
Okay, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
I did.
Do you have any questions?
I have three. I've never been to one of these meetings before. I had to deal with one of these issues before, so I ask you to bear with me. So the conditions that are outlined there that he has to meet are all on page 1 and 2. Is that correct?
Of the
Yes, I
comments
believe
package
so.
listed for HMB 2244?
And so for condition number 3, it's my understanding that both lots already have their own separate tax account, their own separate roll numbers. Because I guess whatever reason, it was never actually merged on paper through the city of Hamilton. Does he still have to pay that fee to create those new accounts?
Only if they have to be created. So that's if applicable.
Okay.
So if it's already set up, then you don't have to. If it's not, you do. And I think it's a 2-digit figure anyways.
Okay. And then my next question is there a time frame for completion on these conditions?
Yes.
2 years.
Yes,
2 years?
through you, Mr. Chair, there is a time period to fulfill the conditions. As per the Planning Act, it is 2 years from the date of giving notice of the decision.
Okay, thank you very much.
Information will
Those
also
are all
be
my
provided on the decision.
Okay, I move for approval.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Sorry, just one
Opposed?
part.
Oh,
Will he receive something, or will I receive something from the Committee of Adjustments after this, or is this it?
Yes, so a formal written notice of decision will be circulated.
Thank you very much.
So that was a motion.
opposed?
Seeing none?
Motion carried, application approved.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Right, and we are all set for the next file. We are hearing HMB 2242 for 215 to 217 Macaulay Avenue in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak and 2 interested parties.
Okay, is the agent available?
I believe the owner may be present and he may have called in. If you could press *6 or *9 to unmute yourself if you are here for this item.
Okay, is that good?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Can you please state your name for the record?
Terry O'Sullivan.
Okay. Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
I didn't see them. I didn't know where to look, actually. not that familiar with doing this sort of thing, so.
So in the link that, or the email that you got with the link for the meeting, there was also a link to the comments package that was posted.
Okay. I didn't see it, no.
So staff is recommending approval.
Okay.
Did you have any
That's
questions
good.
at all?
Not really. One question. Maybe it was answered before, so no, I'm good.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Well, there's two
Sorry.
interested
Oh,
parties.
2 interested party, okay.
Yes. All right, so we will hear from Denise McLeod first.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi. I just wanted to find out the Severance. I live right next door to the rooming houses, and I'm curious if the Severance is, if he's going to maintain both of them as rooming houses. I can't ask Terry because he doesn't give me the truth, unfortunately. But because it's really bringing down my property, and it's interfering with having 18 men living next door. You can imagine the problem with my daughter and her friends that they have with these neighbors. The other thing is, this is a 3-story rooming house. That might help. This is a 3-story rooming house without any fire escapes out back. Like, I'm terrified for those men. You know, like there's no way out but jumping. Like, is he going to do that? As well as, if, depending on which house he sells, is he going to build a fence, which he promised me at the beginning, so that these people cannot keep reaching over my fence and getting at my dog? As well as the parking. They've got like cars out here revving all through the night. They've got, it's just horrible living next to them. Like, we have to go out in order to move our car out of the driveway. We have to go banging on doors to find out whose car is parked on the road blocking our driveway. You know, these were supposed to be family homes. That's what we were told. And then they were made into rooming houses. And like I said, one side holds 9 and the other house holds 9. So I'm just wondering what's going to happen once the Severance comes through and somebody else buys it. Are they going to be allowed to make a rooming house, leave it as a rooming house, or a halfway house, or?
I think that becomes a bylaw issue, not in front of us today, actually.
I kind of thought that, but I tried bylaw. They said talk to the owner. I tried that. So when I got this notice, I figured maybe I got a chance of you guys, you know, finding out for me what the heck he's planning on doing here with this Severance. Besides selling one unit, I don't know which unit, and I don't know if he's going to leave it as a rooming house, like, you know, both of them a rooming house, or if he's making one into a family home now.
It would appear as though that would be up to the owner now and the new owner. So right now they're just asking to sever the one lot into 2. And that's all we're here to vote on today.
Oh, okay. So the rooming houses, is that a zoning problem?
That
Yeah,
is not.
if I may, I'm confused as to what answer did you get from bylaw when you went to bylaw?
They said I'd have to talk to you, Terry. I think it was just the fact that the guys are partying and the bylaw guy didn't want to go in and deal with a bunch of rowdies, you know.
Well, they have a job to do, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Keep after bylaw.
So between bylaw and your counselor, you should look into it.
Okay,
You
so
don't get the answer.
can I get a
You don't
copy
get
of
the
the
answer
Severance?
from bylaw, then I would get in touch with my counselor.
Okay, now can I get a copy of the Severance? Because the last guy that came down to survey it, he had 3 or 4 down here. And the last guy said he didn't know what the hell they were doing because it was wrong. So.
You'll get a copy of the decision once it's made.
And that'll have the Severance attached?
It won't have the property lines. It'll just have a copy of the notice of decision. It would not have a copy of any survey or reference plan.
But it will require a survey to be completed. So I don't. How can this lady get a copy of that?
The survey, I had it surveyed, so, I could share that.
Well, the one of the conditions suggested, which I assume would become a condition, is that the owner shall submit a deposited Ontario Land Surveyor's reference plan to the Committee of Adjustment office.
Yeah, but that could be done the day before the expiry and the day before you complete it. So quite often that's done months after the decision. And then when I have to do it in my firm, I get one submitted and do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did submit the survey to the planning department, to the Committee of Adjustments.
How would this lady get a copy of it?
Was there another individual that wants to?
I could give it to her, no problem.
Okay, excellent.
Yes, so we'll now hear from Lisa Wellington.
Hello,
Thank
hi,
you.
can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Hi there, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. Pretty much I second everything what Denise has said to you. I've been on the street 24 years, ever since we were told, I don't know how this can happen where someone's building a house, you're told 2 single families are moving on each side, and then all of a sudden it's turned into a boarding house. That I don't know how that goes through the city without anyone on the street knowing. Like, I'm not sure, what are the houses registered as, or what kind of units are they?
So these would be questions for the zoning department. They would be able to tell you what the zoning of the property is and what the permitted uses of the property are. The severance of the property is the subject before the committee today.
Okay, so you have to go through zoning then? Pretty much you said
Zoning and
then?
bylaw.
Zoning and bylaw again? Okay. All right, pretty much I just second everything that Denise said, so I guess you guys can't help us today, so, okay. Thank you so much.
Sorry. Okay, committee have any other questions? I'll move the severance. We have a seconder?
Sure.
All in favor?
Here.
Opposed?
I am.
Nay.
Any committee members opposed?
Any members opposed?
Motion carried, application approved.
Thank you, folks.
Fire, oh my God.
And we are all set for the next file. We are hearing HMA 2228 for 185 Park Street North in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak and one interested party.
Okay, is the agent available?
I'm here, Kevin Webster.
Yes, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
I did, I have no objections.
Okay, there's one citizen.
Yes, we will hear from Manny Sohal.
Good day to the members, Mr. Webster. My name is Manny Sohal, counsel.
Sorry, you'll just need to speak a little bit closer to your microphone.
Sure thing. Let me speak up as well. My name is Manny Sohal, counsel. I represent the owner of the property directly adjacent to 185. It's 181 Park Street North. In reviewing the revised application, and maybe Mr. Webster can confirm if I'm mistaken, reviewing the revised application for this matter, it appears that my client's property is no longer affected by the variance requests being made, being the property immediately south. I see some revisions have been made from the previous application. What I would take this opportunity to say, I did attend the property yesterday with the 2 daughters of the client. I met the client as well, who's an elderly woman who's just come back from the hospital. I did notice some orange spray paint on the rear of the property belonging to my client, in the front of the property, on the stones, mind you, not even the grass. I'm not for a second saying that Mr. Webster was involved. However, I would invite any parties that are interested in making any claim for that piece of property to contact my office. I don't know if Mr. Webster will be involved in that, but Mr. Barbosa, the owner, will be directly involved. But I think what you have, or what is trying to be accomplished, is not a committee of adjustments matter. I think it's an adverse possession matter. I know my client has had open, notorious, etc., possession of that property for 50 years. So let's say the orange spray paint is a little bit concerning. I think people think that they're able to do that. They're not. I'm going to be the person responsible for making sure that's the case. I don't know if anyone's looking for my contact information. No one's contacted me about it. I don't want anyone going on that property with a can of spray paint or otherwise. So if Mr. Webster, I don't know how to reach you, but I can provide you with my contact. You can pass it on to the parties that are relevant to that situation.
I have no idea, I mean, what you're talking about. I don't know the homeowners have done anything. They haven't informed me of. Why would they go on someone else's property is beyond me, but.
Yeah. And I'm not saying for a second that you would have anything to do with that. I was hoping maybe to address Mr. Barbosa, but I don't have any way to contact him. There's no mailbox.
He has no email. He's an elderly gentleman. I have a phone number that we could contact later, but you could go through me. I could talk to him to see what. I mean, isn't there a fence up between properties? I don't understand how.
There is a fence. I think if there is a fence, and I apologize, committee members, for using this forum to discuss. Maybe, Mr. Webster, if you just give me your number, we won't waste the committee's time with this, because this is not a committee of adjustments. Mr. Webster, just whatever is the best way to contact you.
Is it possible for the planning department to give my information, or is it okay to give it over?
Yeah, Mr. Webster, if you prefer, as long as you are amenable and agree to it, the Committee of Adjustment staff are able to provide your contact information directly to Mr. Sokol.
Yes, thank you.
I appreciate that, and I apologize if this is not in line with the subject matter.
Okay, does the committee have any questions?
I have Margaret with a question.
Yes, this is another one of those situations where development engineering is requesting denial because of the side yard, and they would prefer 0.9 meters. Would it be possible to
who's
have this
denying
approved?
it? I'm sorry.
Pardon?
I'm sorry. Who was denying it?
The development engineering. Did you read the comments?
I did. I thought they approved it, and we increased it to a 1.2 meter setback, not 0.9.
It says that the 0.9 meter setback. I'm just.
0.9 is recommended, and they only had a 0.6. Yeah.
0.6. Yeah. You have 0.6 meter side yard?
No, that's the old drawings.
That's also what we're approving here.
No, the new drawings are 1.2 meters side yard. I went through the engineer, I went through zoning, we've revised the whole thing, we've pushed the whole building up to the front. I don't know if you've got the right drawings.
No,
so now that it's over 0.0, now it's over 0.9, and it's 1.2, so that's no longer an issue.
No, but we will then need to revise the variances, because variance number 2, as far as I'm aware, it still says northerly side yard of 0.6 meters shall be provided instead of the minimum required 1.2. Okay, but you're only doing the north side, not the south side. Is that correct?
Yes, so the north side is 0.6, which is an exterior lot. The interior is 1.2.
We do not have the updated plans.
Correct.
But, okay. Never mind.
Okay.
We don't have it, right.
Yeah.
So with that, I would make a motion with the amended size of the other lot, I guess would be the north side.
Yeah, that would be the south
side,
which
is
is
that right,
which
Kevin?
is yeah.
Pardon me, the south side has a 1.2 meter setback.
Correct. So we're changing it from 0.06 to 1.2.
No,
Yes.
yeah, they've actually taken off the variance for the south side setback, and so now we just have the north side setback.
Okay, because it's not required anymore on the south.
Not
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So variance 2 is either denied or withdrawn, one or the other.
No, 2 is still required. That's the north side. The south side is no longer required. It's just not reflected in the plans.
Well, I thought it was the engineering. Isn't the engineering talking about the north side? Yeah, they say the proposed northerly side yard with 0.6 does not satisfy this requirement, and they recommend denial.
But that's been changed.
No,
Wait a minute, maybe I didn't read that one part. I don't.
Let's get it straight.
Variance 2 talks about the northerly side yard.
Yes. So maybe
that's the one that engineering is objecting to.
Yeah. That's the street side.
If that's been changed to 1.2 meters, then it's not a problem. It's either withdrawn or we put a condition on the approval that it be 1.2 meters.
I would be more comfortable with a condition that they satisfy development engineering with respect to drainage and grading.
I have no problem with that.
Jeez, you know, I did not see the development engineering comment. I mean, I talked to this gentleman, sent him the drawings, and he said everything was fine at the time. having a 0.6 setback on the north side and a 1.2 on the other side.
If we have
to table it, or do you want to make it to the satisfaction of development engineer with a potential approval?
What is the development engineering recommending?
Denial.
Denial. They want 0.9.
0.9?
Yes. They want 1.2.
1.2.
No, they want 0.9.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
We would be willing to go to 0.9 if that gets it done. I guess that's the only way of approving it.
Oh, yeah.
We can approve it with the condition that you satisfy development engineering, and if you can convince them that you can do it without 0.9, then
fair enough.
Okay, that's a motion, Margaret?
That's a motion to approve it, subject to, or with a condition that that they satisfy development engineering with respect to drainage and grading.
Okay. Seconder?
Sure.
David?
Right.
All in favor?
Here.
Opposed?
Seeing none?
Motion carried, application approved.
Thank you.
All right, we are all set for the next file. We are hearing HMA 22162 for 242 Herkimer Street in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak and no interested parties.
Okay, is the agent available?
Yeah, Dewey Wynn from N-Cube Designs.
Yes, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
I did. I'm in agreement with it.
Okay, committee?
Move for approval.
Thank you. And was, sorry, was that with, as amended per zoning?
Yes.
For 1.6 instead of 1.7 for front yard depth?
Yes.
Sorry, that is a question to Mark, who made the motion. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
We haven't voted yet.
Opposed?
Seeing none?
Motion carried, application approved.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, who seconded that motion? I missed that one.
Bob
Yeah.
did.
Thank you. We are all set for HMB 2241 for 74 Melbourne Street in Hamilton. We have the owners registered to speak and no other interested parties.
Okay, is the owner available?
Yes, Mario Pastorero here.
Yes, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Did not read the comments, but I am in receipt of the consolidation report and the conditions that are being suggested.
Okay, does the committee have any questions?
Move it.
I do have a comment.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Condition number 5, via correspondence from Spencer McKay from Urban Solutions and Aaron Inrig. I think Jamelia should have in her possession a concurrence that this condition be waived as of yesterday.
Jamelia, do you have any information on that?
I'm just looking, it may have come through after I stopped reviewing.
I think it was around noon yesterday. And it was acknowledged that condition number 5 was not applicable.
The note from Development Engineering was that I can confirm that the consent agreement will not be required since the dwelling has already been constructed with the grading and servicing already completed.
Okay, we can eliminate number 5.
Yeah. The only other item I'd like to speak on is number 4, and I'm not sure if the context is wrong as I read the condition. In summary, I submitted the architectural drawings to the building division, obtained a building permit. Inspections were done at the structural framing stage, at the insulation stage pertaining to this item. This is regarding the party wall and the Ontario Building Code requirement that there be a minimum 1-hour fire rating. That was all within the drawings, the approvals, and then the 2 inspections. And furthermore, I've obtained occupancy permit for both dwellings that me and my family are residing in. So I would respectfully suggest that number 4 should be waived as well.
Could it be as a note or if required?
I'm sorry?
Could we put a
This
note
is pertaining
to it, or if required, like if you've already proven the fact that it's done to the code, then it's already done. But
Obviously, all aspects of the Ontario Building Code, the whole drawing is in compliance with the Ontario Building Code. Otherwise, I wouldn't have received permit approval. And secondarily, the inspections at the different stages of construction, both upon the completion of the structural framing, would have addressed that party wall and adherence to the Ontario Building Code, as well as at the insulation, upon completion of the insulation. A party wall with a minimum 1-hour fire rating has certain construction elements that must exist. They were inspected and approved. So I'm just not sure if maybe this was an oversight.
and it could be, but you have that paperwork already available, so it shouldn't be an issue to make that condition possible.
Sure. Yeah, I have a permit. As I said, me and my family have been residing in both units for the last month.
Well, the condition is you should comply. If you've complied, then it's not a problem.
Okay. I just don't know the purpose of it existing. And I guess it would be akin to saying, well, we want to make sure the footings are in compliance with the Ontario Building Code. We want to make sure the foundation is in compliance with the Ontario Building Code. Of course it is, otherwise I wouldn't have gotten the permit and I wouldn't have passed all the different construction inspections. So I'm just confused as to why that's cited, that's all.
Mr. Chairman, the condition reads that the owner shall comply with the Ontario Building Code requirements regarding spatial separation distances of any structures. This is with regards to the proposed new property line.
Okay.
Exactly.
Has nothing to do with
semi-detached
joining
structure.
wall.
This is a semi-detached structure, and the party wall runs from the front to the back. And in any party wall Ontario Building Code requirement, there's a minimum 1 hour fire rating. And there's certain construction that has to be provided in order to be compliant with the Ontario Building Code. Respectfully, I state that that was depicted within the architectural drawing submitted, permit granted, and then inspections to follow up with that same compliance also approved. So, and I also got occupancy permit. So I just don't know why this would be here.
What was the date of that final inspection, sir? What was the date of the final inspection?
The occupancy permit was granted approximately a month ago. Donald Skinner was the inspector.
Okay, so if that's the case, there's probably just an overlap here from the time the application came in to when the final inspection was completed. So let's just say that that's done. If it's not, then it's still required. So obviously, I'm assuming it's done based on you giving out the name of the person who did the inspection. So let's go ahead and do it without 4 and 5.
Okay, that's fine. Everything else is in order, and I concur with all the other conditions.
Okay, who is moving that? Somebody.
I do. I'll second. Okay, Bob.
So, sorry, can I just make sure? So, Bob, you're making a motion that for approval with conditions 4 and 5 removed?
Yes.
Okay. And, sorry, who seconded that, or has the chair not called for seconders?
Nancy?
I can.
I thought you did.
All in
Okay, I
favor?
did.
Here.
Opposed?
Being none?
Motion carried, application approved.
Thank you very much.
Okay, fellow committee members and chair, I have to withdraw at this time. I've got all sorts of urgencies going on at the end of June, change of market, deals falling apart, people trying to get out, and
thank goodness they're not mine.
No, I got lots of them. Everyone's looking for any angle to get out.
You betcha.
Because they bought it in April. Yeah. Okay, thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Done.
Bye, Bob.
Okay. Oh.
Okay, and we are all set for the next file. So we're hearing FLB 2046 for 13 Herbert Place in Flamborough. We have the agent registered to speak, as well as staff. I believe the agent has requested to speak first.
Okay. The agent available?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair and members of committee. My name is Meredith Baker. I'm counsel with Turkster Mazza Associates. We're legal counsel for the applicant. I am appearing here today just to ask that this matter be tabled so we can have further discussions with staff.
Okay.
Move for table.
Second? Yeah. Dave? All in favor?
Here, here.
Opposed?
Seeing none?
Motion carried, application tabled.
Thank you.
All right, and we are all set for the next file. We are hearing FLA 22164 for 667 Harvest Road in Flamborough. We have the agent registered to speak, as well as the owner, and no other interested parties.
Okay, is the agent available?
Yes, here speaking.
Yes, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
I did.
And do you have any questions?
No.
Committee?
I'll move
I have David with a question or comment? No, a motion for approval.
I just want you all to hear my voice. Yeah, I move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Are we talking about Herbert Place?
We are. No, Harvest.
No, Harvest. Herbert was tabled.
Yes. Oh, it was, sorry. It's tabled.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry.
All in favor? Opposed?
Seeing none.
Motion carried, application approved.
Thank you.
Great, and we are all set for the next file. We are hearing FLA 22169 for 33 Taylor Crescent in Flamborough. We have the owner registered to speak and no other interested parties.
Okay, is the owner available?
Yes, I am.
Yes. Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, I did.
Do you have any questions?
No questions, no issues.
Okay, ready?
Looks perfect to me. I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Nancy, then Mel, all in favor?
Here, here.
Opposed?
Seeing none?
Motion carried, application approved.
Thank you.
Trying to beat the clock here.
And we're all set for the next file. We're hearing DNA 22171 for 92 Melville Street in Dundas.
No, I'm not a street.
Yeah, sorry. So used to
Straight
saying
and
your
narrow,
name. We have the agent registered to speak and no other interested parties.
Is the agent available?
Yes, I am.
Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
I have.
Do you have any questions?
No, I haven't, but I understand there may be a couple of questions from the committee with regards to two of the items.
You never know. Does the committee have any questions?
No.
Let's look. What are we, now we've got.
I know.
Where have we
Another read here.
What have we missed? I've read.
Nobody
through
has
one.
any questions because Melvin will approve it.
There were a couple of items that brought up some concern at some point in the project. Two of them, one is with regards to an existing chimney and one to porch posts that were being restored. Firstly, this is a project that's been divided into two sections. The first permit was a alteration permit for the inside of the existing house, which we're working on presently. And in that permit that was given to us in March 2022, it shows that we have to remove the chimney that was in question and that we're restoring the column porch posts on the south side. And both of those elements have a existing permit for them. Somehow they've made it into the permit for the additional or the zoning for the additional elements that we've asked for. So if there's any questions on those, be happy to answer them.
Committee members have any questions?
Move it.
That was not mentioned in the comments we had other than
No, it
the
wasn't
building.
mentioned in the comments at all.
Well,
So there,
I saw it in the reports.
There's
Move
a,
it.
we go.
yeah.
Who moved it, Mel?
I did, yeah.
Sorry, okay. I had Bob who moved it, and Mr. Chairman, who did you have for motions?
Well, I had Mel.
You had Mel?
Said Mel will move it for Melvin Street. I'll take Bob as seconder if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay.
All in favor?
Here.
Opposed?
Seeing none?
Motion carried, application approved.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, committee.
And Mr. Chairman, our next item on the agenda is with regards to the procedures for the Committee of Adjustment members during proposed hybrid meetings as circulated to the committee members.
Okay, so there's been some comments. Nothing can be done as far as forcing members to attend City Hall. It's just, we had made a motion and there was some talk about maybe making an amendment to that motion that the members try their utmost to attend these hybrid meetings at City Hall.
Dale,
I
can you
know-
fix your microphone again, please?
What's that?
Could you adjust your microphone again so we can hear you properly?
Mel, can you?
I muted.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you. Think that's better.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so it's just make an amendment to that motion that, you know, the members of the committee try their utmost to make it to City Hall if that's the way we're going with the hybrid meetings. It's too bad Mark had to leave. I had a conversation with Mark yesterday, and I mean, his comments are the fact that he wished we would go one way or the other 100%. So either stay the way we are, or everything comes to City Hall, applicants as well. So I know this is throwing everything back up in the air again. And I don't know whether we can go back on that motion that we agree with the hybrid meetings or not. But I'm just bringing this up for discussion for the committee.
So on that particular meeting, I know myself and Mark had left the meeting at that point. So you still had a favorable motion. I think in hindsight, the discussion has changed so that it didn't make a lot of sense to have 4 people in the room and 4 people out of the room. I personally find that's a big stress on both the secretary and the chair, and trying to monitor both sets of participants. I guess the question to the secretary or to you, Jamila, is can we do an amendment or can we overturn that motion with a new one?
Yes, so the motion was made that hybrid meetings begin on July 14th. So if the committee members choose not to proceed with that, we would need a new motion. Please do keep in mind that this was a request from council that we have hybrid meetings, just being aware of all of the information. But if the committee members make a motion to not proceed with hybrid meetings, that would be at their discretion.
Are there particular members who are strong one way or the other?
I think that we have to say whether we're talking about requiring all committee members to be there in person, because when we're talking about hybrid meetings, that also allows members of the public to appear virtually, which I think is what council was going for. Yeah. I don't think they cared one way or the other about committee members being there or not. That was just something that we thought might give people a little flexibility in case of vacations or illnesses. But I don't think we want to get rid of hybrid meetings entirely because we want the public to have access. So.
Yeah.
So I'd like to talk about this again. Like, I think it's really, really important that we move forward on the hybrid type of meetings. And I think that if we were to just say everybody has to be back like it was, very quickly, we would be right back to just doing the meetings without the hybrid, because it's a little bit more awkward to have to put the hybrid into allowing people access from their homes, which is really the best way for people to have input into committee of adjustment decisions. But we would go back to that position because most of us enjoy the interaction of being around each other and all that kind of thing. And the consultants would all show up. If we were all there, they're going to all show up because they're going to think it may give them an advantage, which once they start all showing up, then the people in the community figure that they have to be there. I just think it's a really slippery slope. And I think for the first little while, we should really be trying this to do it both ways and allow people access both ways. Now, in my own personal situation, it's a little bit awkward for me over the next few months. If you can tell me that COVID isn't going to be an issue, and if you can tell me that there isn't going to be too many people in the room, I'm okay with that. But if you can't tell me that, it's a bit of an issue for me because I have a wife that's immune compromised, and I can't be going out to big public meetings and participating in things unless I know exactly what it is I'm dealing with. So from that perspective, I would like to be in a position where I could still do it remotely. But I also don't have a problem if we know that all that stuff is really sorted out and there's just the committee members there even, I don't have a problem with being there. I do have a problem if 30 people show up in the room. That's going to be an issue. So.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah,
Thanks
I can
for
see your
sharing.
point there, Bob. I mean, I'd like to see as many committee members as possible sit around the table like you, because I think we do a lot better job when we're sitting face to face with each other. But I see your point, Bob.
Today was a very frustrating meeting for me because there was a lot of overtalk.
Yep.
Unrecognized hands, and there was a lot of speaking out without a hand. And that's frustrating for me. And that continues when we're on a situation like this, because I can see 4, 8, 12 people, but there's 5. Martha, hi. It could be as many as 30 people in the room. You can't possibly see everybody. Sorry, Dave, I took your turn.
David?
It's okay. I support Bob's position. I just like to say that. And in saying that, though, too, if I'm here, I'm going to come in too. I'm going to come into the meetings. It's not as if we're going hybrid. I'm going to sit here at home and like I am now. If it was called for today, I would go there. But I respect and appreciate Bob's position, and I think we should still stay with the hybrid situation.
Good.
Tom, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I can tell you about the frustration of trying to do it virtually sometimes. I guess I'm still a bit of a dinosaur. I like to look directly into people's eyes as they're telling me things, and sometimes, like Matt's display today, I think is better to be in front of you live than virtual, but. So I'm all for live attendance, but excuse me, I appreciate Bob's problem, and I suppose he should have the option.
So Dale, what if we maintained what was voted on, but it is pretty much understood that in all possible cases, committee members will attend live? And I mean, I say the same thing. If there was a meeting next week and I'm away in France, as I will be,
Oh, you're not going to come on, are you?
the option to log in at 1 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon. You know what I mean? So that does allow that. Or if somebody's at the cottage or whatever, they would have the opportunity to log in.
And we can leave it as status
We
quo.
just lost all these faces. What happened?
We have, the general opinion of everyone that, if
with an understanding that everybody, and it will be a test. I'm sorry to say, Jamila, the next meeting will be a test for sure. Yeah, for you particularly, I guess.
Yeah, I know I will be in the Hamilton if there's a meeting in there. I'll be in attendance.
Me too.
And I think Laverne, we've spoken about this before.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he'd be happy to be in, unless, again, if he's on vacation and sitting around doing nothing, he could log in.
So Laverne would be on board for it, be in there too.
Yeah. So
Jamila, when we attend the hybrid meetings, do we need our tablets still or not?
Yes, you will still need your tablets for the comments package, to view the comments package and the notice packages. So you won't need it to attend the meeting. We'll do instructions before the next, the first hybrid meeting, if that is still the committee members' wish, and we will do some training. It's fairly simple for those who are attending in person. I'm currently attending in person, and so it's basically remembering to mute and unmute myself is the biggest thing. It's just in a different spot. But the committee members would be able to see all those who were speaking on the large screen, so you'd be able to see the large screen. You would also be able to use your tablets more easily for the comments packages as they were originally intended to be used, so that you could flip through the comments package more easily and not have to go back and forth between the meeting and the comments package. And then staff will obviously be there in the meeting with you as well if there's concerns.
So would there still be paper packages for those who have requested them?
So we will likely keep the paper packages for the first month or so, just to make sure that everything is all set up, and then those will be phased out.
So Lovchick, the dinosaur, there's legs that bounce back and forth
So
between the
paper
comments and the package.
Right, the paper packages will cease at some point very soon, and that will be a big savings. Yeah. Okay.
I would like the
How's
paper
that, Dale?
package for the results, so I can look at the applications and I can see the other part.
It's on your tablet now. That's why they.
I know, but I'm old. Yeah, you'd have to show me how to do it again.
Yeah, well,
That's fine.
I agree with that. I'm in that same boat.
Well, I
mean,
think
I can have one or the other, but not both up at the meeting, and that's my problem.
Well, I usually can, but except for, just want to mention once again that that package was too large to actually download adequately. So if we get one that large again, would it be possible to divide it into two parts?
Sorry, that was the comments package, or that was
No, the application.
notices?
Yeah, the PDF, the full one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have no
And I'd
problem
like to-
downloading the application at home, but I wouldn't say it was on the, I didn't do it on the tab, but did it on my computer.
A tablet wouldn't take it today for me either. I also think that the tablets need to be sent back into the office to be upbooted or something, because they're not great. They're not
I
great.
think
Really
it's fair
slow.
enough to say, as chairman, I'm going to state that if anyone requires paper copies, then they will get paper copies. My counselor has told me that if any member on the committee wishes to have paper, they can have paper.
Wow.
That's me.
And crayons?
Yeah.
Wow. Prize.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So is there anything else on that?
So we do need to make a motion that the procedures as circulated are passed by the committee members, or if there were amendments to that package that was circulated to everybody through email. I believe it was circulated.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes, I'll make a motion for approval. I didn't see anything bad in there other than our discussion was all sorted out now.
Okay, seconder?
I'll second.
All in favor? Opposed?
The only question I have is, do we have a calendar for all the upcoming dates?
Yeah,
She
just
just
come in.
sent it to us yesterday. We
Oh,
got it
I
Tuesday.
don't think I've seen that.
It was attached to that email with the code of conduct and the proposal.
Yeah, code of conduct. Yeah.
Well, I didn't get that until just before the meeting. I've had a problem with my email the last little bit. And so I didn't get actually a good chance to look at that. So I'll go back and look at it now. But I noticed it came in today. But the last 2 days before that, I didn't get email.
Oh, no. Okay, if you don't have those dates, you can send me an email and I'll circulate it out to you again.
Thanks, Jamila.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll move it.
Bob,
Bob?
Don't need a seconder. Is that it?
Yep.
Yep. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry.
Nancy's upside down.